Hey, B, I know we locked Ruby in the basement, so we still need a third for this month, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, after those 3 assassins killed Manuel and then we dumped his body in the trash. I do have this monkey's paw I found, and 1 wish left. Don't ask what I used the other 2 on. It's a long story.
We'll save that for next episode.
Yeah, we could use that to give ourselves a third.
Yeah, if you think we need one.
Okay, I wish we had a third person for this podcast.
Hey everyone, I'm back.
Oh,
Fuck.
hi, I'm JD.
And I'm Manuel.
And I'm B.
And you're reading the wrong way. Welcome to Reading the Wrong Way, episode 9. This is our our seasonal sampler for summer 2025. Say that one 5 times fast, please.
Look at him just knowing which number episode.
Oh, I have the recordings up on my computer, so I can see that the last one was episode 8. And then I learned math, so I know the number after 8 is 9. This is going to be a break from our usual format where we read either half or all of a manga. And instead, we're going to be taking a look at the first volumes of 3 different manga that are all getting an anime adaptation in the summer 2025 season. All these are going to be on some streaming site. 2 of them are going to be on Crunchyroll, and another one's going to be on Netflix. And 2 of them are also having premieres at Anime Expo, which we'll be covering as press. So I'm hoping to be able to cover both of those events. Please look forward to that. So do you all want to go ahead and say what we all picked?
Yeah, so I picked the really, really awesome fantasy manga called The Shy Hero and the Assassin Princesses. Sorry, I don't remember the title. I don't remember. Okay, did you already say that we recorded this twice?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna say it now. We recorded this twice because something happened to the other one. Doesn't matter. We'll just get that lore out. But
due to errors, we're here again.
Yes. Yeah. The first time we recorded it, I pretty much was always calling it like Kizetsu Yusha to Ansatsu Hime, or I was saying the Assassin Princesses, because even the Romanized title I was using back then, the one I was using, was different than it officially became.
Yeah, they changed it in the time between recordings.
Yeah,
so they actually changed a couple things. But yeah, that's the one I'm doing. So I'll get to it later. But go to
Did
name.
They make it good?
Shut up.
Hey, don't spoil that part.
Yeah.
B.
By the way, it has writers by Norishiro-chan and Setsuda Yukiji. I'm not sure which one did the art or writing, but those are the 2 credits. I don't think I mentioned the author at all last time.
No, I vaguely mentioned it.
Yes, so there you go.
All right, mine is the horror drama slice of life, The Summer Hikaru Died by Mokumokuren.
Mm-hmm. And finally, I picked Gachiakuta by Kei Urana.
Yes, 3 very different series in general.
Really different.
Well, Manuel, I spent the last 2 episodes leading the conversation about a manga I picked. So since you're back after a long break, why don't you start this one?
Yeah, so the one I picked is interesting because yes, it is. It's very interesting because this was the best one of this whole freaking show, guys. So the one I picked is the fantasy. It's a fantasy story, and for anyone who knows Manuel personally, you might be able, and you look up. Maybe you already started typing what this anime was when I first said it. You have another window open with it open, and you're all like, "Did Manuel just pick this because like the big anime titties?"
Or you're a devout listener.
Yeah, that was my line of thinking. I thought you just like scrolled through what was airing in this season and just stopped at the first one that had big anime titties on it that wasn't like a sequel to something else.
Yes, so that I'll be honest, that was part of it, and that kind of was a deciding factor. Anyways, so the way we picked all of our choices were we went to like what was premiering this summer, and then we went to the ones that were like new. I knew going into this that I wanted to pick something fantasy related because I knew that that's kind of the hot thing right now. And I was going through the list, and I'm like, gosh, these are all isekais. I think there's one that is obviously isekai, has one of those stupid light novel titles. Like, I was a dude who got, like, shot in the leg, and now I'm in the fantasy world, and, like, my demon wife is, like, a cook. I don't know. I guarantee you I probably described a real show right there.
It's a light novel. You'll see the manga adaptation next year.
Exactly. So like there was something like that in the list. I'm like, okay, not that one. But I opened up like the 4 or 5 that were also fantasy, and there were like, I'm like, isekai, and there were 2 that weren't. Don't ask me what the second one is because I didn't pick that one. But then, that's when the big anime titties came into play. I'm like, this is the one. It's like it's fantasy, it's non-isekai, there's big anime titties. It's a very simple story about like
a shy hero and assassin princesses.
honestly, that's the whole fucking thing right there. The title annoys the fuck out of me because don't get me wrong, that isn't the thing in Japanese. So I'm not. It's not like it's a weird localization thing. But only one of them is a princess, and it's the first one. The first one, the manga opens with like the daughter of this demon king, and her name is CL. And in order to become like independent, she has to kill. Well, her father like tasks her to kill the most influential hero. I think is the thing that like the word they use in the translation we have. By the way, my manga, I don't think that's been licensed at all. So so if you want to read it, you have to
learn Japanese.
Yeah, learn Japanese. But anyways, I only mention this because so there might be some stuff that I say that eventually becomes outdated. When they do it. Anyways, it says the most influential hero, which I'm like, how interesting. Like, this is, I guess that the manga kind of got me. I'm like, this would be a cool hero. And so she goes to go do that. Then we cut to an assassin who's getting a job. The assassin's name is
Anemone.
Oh God, I forgot. I do have it in my notes because I had to take new notes, but I forgot that it's the name that like I can't, not the name, the word I can't say. We came across this in another, I forgot which episode it was. I had to say a flower. I think it was in the Princess Eye one. I had to say it, and I was just like anemone, anemone.
Yeah,
but yeah, Mone-chan. I think,
or you're like Nemo in Finding Nemo.
Yes, I'm the Nemo for Finding Nemo. But no, Mone-chan, we'll call her. She's an assassin, like an actual assassin. See, we met the princess, who's the assassin. And she's getting a job to like just kill this guy. We don't know who it is yet, but it's going to be the hero. And then we cut one last time to like a dominatrix. I'm still kind of confused if she has a brothel or if that's just her house. But she's like a...
No, I believe she is like the madam of a pleasure house.
Yeah, she has like people there, like at a beck and call. She's very like she's dominatrix. There's a lot of like BDSM undertones, like sexual slaves, stuff like that. And her whole thing is that she wants to get like somebody really powerful to become her new like boy toys, sexual servant type thing. So they all converge on this hero, and this hero turns out to be like this level 1 hero who means good, but he can never get a party together. And I guess in this world, you need at least 4 members to form a party for adventurers. So he never does anything. But
yeah, because this manga is set inside of a JRPG.
Basically,
it is.
Yeah.
If you like the first bits of Konosuba, it's like that kinda, except a little more downplayed.
This is the Konosuba we have at home.
No. Okay, it is pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie.
Yes. Give some more information on our hero. His name is Toto. He has, I guess, severe, I think we would call it anxiety in our world, but at least social shyness. He can't talk to people. We get multiple like scenes of him like going through conversations in his head, just preparing, and then completely failing to even say much in person. And that's especially so around women. And so when a group of 3 women says, "Hey, we want to be your party," he's like, "I can't really turn up this opportunity when I've never been able to make it before."
I will give it up for the manga. Like there are some parts. I mean, and obviously the whole implication is that he's very like, it's like, oh, it's a beautiful girl, blah blah blah. I'm so shy, and like, oh, she's so hot though. Like I'm very shocked they didn't just go with automatic nosebleeds every 30 seconds. That actually really that kind of blew my mind a little. I'm like, oh shit, he just like freezes up usually, like literally just freezes up.
Well, they had to find some way to stand out, right?
Well, I mean, the nosebleed is also more for lust. I don't know if he's actually feeling that. He's just overwhelmed rather than.
Yeah, for the record, yeah, this sounds like an obvious harem setup, and maybe it turns into that like after this first volume. But there's not really any of that happening. Like the three assassin princesses, if you will, literally just okay. 2 of them want to kill him. I didn't say her name, but the dominatrix girl's name is Gore. But the thing we read is Goa, so if I accidentally say Goa, I mean Gore. But she doesn't actually want to kill him. She just wants to like I said, like make him into like her new like boy toy or whatever the fuck.
Yeah. And, so there's 1 princess and 2 assassins between them. and that makes
No,
some
it's
assassin
one
princesses.
princess, one assassin, one sex person.
I mean, one who wants to assassinate, or two who want to assassinate him. One whose job is assassin.
One of my big annoyances, and I'm just going to cut to the chase here about this whole first volume, maybe we'll learn more about the hero later on, is that this is all about the princesses. They're the characters. Fucking Toto gets like nothing in this whole first volume. Well, he gets a little towards the end.
Well, I mean, on a fundamental level, they're the ones taking the most actions to like move things along. They're the ones who are trying to kill him. So it's kind of, I kind of expected that if they are trying to kill him, that they'd be the ones we'd be focusing on more. Maybe we'll get more of Toto as like the plot progresses and he goes up in adventure ranks and takes on higher level things, and maybe their feelings towards him change.
Yeah, because there's not a whole lot there. Like we do learn pretty much everything about all the three girls. Like I already mentioned, CL wants to become independent. I think there's some implications, even though she's like a demon lord or whatever, a demon princess or whatever the hell. She's not actually evil. Even though I don't think that they've really given that characterization. I think that's the route they're going to go with her.
Mm-hmm.
Gore, by the way, Gore, she can't really fight. Gore just uses like poisons and like stuff like that to like, I guess, entice the men to join her or whatever.
She's poison ivy without the plant powers.
Yeah, exactly. Monet-chan, I think, is a bit more interesting. She's the one that not only is she like cosplaying as a healer in the party, and I'm not sure if she could actually do healing magic. Like we haven't encountered that yet. But like I'm like, what's gonna happen when you actually have to be a healer? Like I don't think that she knows healing. I don't think she actually is a healer. But she's an assassin who wants the money. She's like kind of a Robin Hood if Robin Hood was an assassin.
Mm-hmm.
She wants the money to do good and save society. Because like as the manga says, this is a society that has slavery or whatever, and she wants to end it.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently the bounty for that one dude, which makes no sense from like any perspective, because the money she's using is coming from the black market that I'm sure is like behind all the slavery too. And I get that you need the money for whatever, but clearly if they have enough money to pay that out, that money is chump change to them. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, just kill the people that gave you the money and call it a day. We're going to give you the money and call it a day.
I mean, either that or he's such a significant threat that they're willing to pay out more than they can honestly afford to do just to make sure he's dead.
And that blows my mind too. Maybe they're going to reveal that later on, but in case you're sitting here wondering, like, wait a minute. If Gore thinks if Gore hears all these rumors about this amazing person, and if Monet-chan has to like kill him because apparently he's a huge threat to the underworld, and if CL's dad is all like, hey, he's the most influential hero or whatever, and we meet Toto and he just like fucking, he's nothing. It's like, what? And yeah, the manga doesn't really explain it.
Clearly, Manuel,
so far at least.
Some later volume, there's going to be a revelation that he's some hero of prophecy. He's got a scar from burns from when a monster destroys village. Probably going to be something mentioning, oh yeah, he's been marked by flames. And that's why like all these people are just so fixated on him, as they think that he's some prophesied hero. Also the fact that he one-shot the dragon in chapter 1.
Oh yes. And he fights with his fists.
Mm-hmm.
Like I mentioned this before, like this manga reminds me a lot of Louis the Rune Soldier. And I mean in a good way. I actually love Louis the Rune Soldier, but both that and this are kind of forgettable. I wouldn't call them one shots. Obviously, they went on for a while, but like it's a small little. I don't know how long this will go on. For all I know, this will become. I mean, this is not going to become the next Bleach, but for all I know, it's going to pick up in volume 13 and then it's going to take the world by storm. I don't think it will, but maybe it will. But my point is, it's like I for all I know, it's going to go on forever. But
I mean, what's the popular one right now? Solo leveling.
Well, I mean, that's Korean, but
yeah, Solo leveling is Korean.
But it's manga. Whatever.
Look,
the thing is, like, people love garbage right now that looks like a JRPG. So,
I mean, that's Konosuba.
As someone who's watched it, it's not complete garbage. It's really good when it's fighting. Other times,
I mean, I love Konosuba. But see, okay. So I came with more ammo this time. So I was just thinking about this in my head, like after we recorded, before we realized we had to re-record it though. I was sitting there and I'm like, honestly, because you guys attacked the hell. I'm surprised you guys just keep me so quiet this time. You guys were just like, oh, this is the worst one ever. Like, I can't believe it's so forgettable. It's so terrible. And I'm like, I don't think it's any better. Okay, it's like in terms of quality of writing and some of the characters, I will admit it's lower. But I don't think it's any significantly better or worse than, like, once again, not to keep throwing out there, like Konosuba, Sword Art Online, Louis the Rune Soldier.
For
Slayers.
me is I also wouldn't be out here talking about those.
you also don't care about Konosuba.
I also don't think those are good.
I guess this is the only favorite reference I have on top of my head. Compared to first season Sword Art Online and to first season Konosuba, I would prefer this so far. Like from its first few tinges of what's happening, and not just because those are isekai. You know, I don't like isekai. Not just because of that. Even like maybe not to the original Slayers, but like to some stuff, even classic stuff. I don't know. I don't think this is that bad. It's definitely okay. It's the equivalent of like a pulp novel or something like that. You know,
I can see that, but I feel like Konosuba especially kind of set itself apart very early because you realize that it's acknowledging that these are terrible people. We're going to be laughing as much at them as we are with them. These are not the protagonists we kind of expect. Kazuma, he doesn't die like saving someone. He dies from having a heart attack from being lightly touched by a vehicle. Aqua is like a hard drinker, a goddess who is so full of herself. And how they play with kind of the tropes of both isekai and RPGs. Like Darkness is the paladin who's very much loves to get hit because she's a masochist. Yeah, that's a masochist, not sadist. But also can't do anything other than that. And then Megumin is just your fantasy wizard who just decided, I'm only going to be able to blast one time a day, but it will kill basically anything in my way. I have no other specializations, so deal with it.
I don't know. So the manga does go on, like basically from there on it becomes like a little like who's gonna kill the hero, and they all take turns. We literally take turns. They do rock paper scissors at first, and they kind of start just going afterwards.
They have to roll for initiative.
Yes, and they all try and fail, and then in each failure, they come closer to the hero. Like at one point, actually, I don't remember how that ends, but like I remember Gore does like take him to a love hotel, and then like tries to like seduce him. But I think she poisons him, but he just like resists the poison, like very, very like Princess Bride style. He just takes it, just like turns it back to whatever. And then at one point, Monet-chan puts this bomb on him that is equivalent to the power of whatever's attached to. That's a weird way to describe it, but that's what it does. Like basically, get onto you, like it'll get as big as your power level, then blow up and kill you. But because it's attached to this, like apparently. Well, we don't know this, but I guess this like mythical hero, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So like she pulls it off and throws it off into the background and destroys a mountain.
Oh, to correct you, Manuel. She wakes him up because he put him to sleep when she put the bomb on him, and she says, "No, okay, this is getting too much," and then wakes him up, like has him cut it off and then throw it off towards the mountain. She doesn't do it herself.
But yeah, so see how memorable this manga was. And then there was another part where they think they're going to go hunt slimes. I think it's like level 1 mission, and because CL is like a demon princess, she's able to like summon a slime king or some monster.
I believe slime. The Emperor Slime is what I saw it called.
Yeah. Oh, is it Emperor Slime? Yeah. Like she summons like a crazy slime monster. And he's still able to overcome it. That's basically he's super powerful, doesn't realize it. And they all slowly start
their RPG mechanics right. Not mechanics, but you know what I mean. Slimes wouldn't be level 1. You'd be going after like a rat or a bug first.
I know.
Slimes are at least level 5.
I feel like Dragon Quest solidified slimes as low level enemies, especially in JRPGs. So
that makes sense.
And they have scaling types too, so it goes all the way up to like Emperor Slime.
Emperor Slime, I love it. No, but like I do agree. We find.
Are they going to kill the guy from that time I got turned into a slime or whatever that shit's called?
Rimuru Tempest is his name.
Okay.
I will admit that there was a good moment in the manga. It has nothing to do with even the story per se, just like a little writing thing they do. Because after the whole bomb incident, I think it's the second to the last chapter of this volume. When that bomb thing happened, it was just Monet-chan and it was just Todo. And like just like on the level, not all of them are just the two people, but like earlier when it was the love hotel thing, it was just Score and just Todo. But actually I think it was all
as part of their agreement, they all say, okay, we each get one turn, then the other two get their turns on separate days, and we cannot interfere with what the other ones are doing.
So when they meet, when the four of them meet up again after the whole like mountain getting destroyed, which by the way, I still think about that, like how a whole ecosystem was destroyed. Like at the very least, an entire ecosystem was destroyed. Like I said, there's probably a village or a town at the foot of that mountain that either is destroyed now because the rubble that fell down upon it, or they have to move now because like the mountain is gonna fall down any day. It didn't destroy the mountain; it took a circle out of it, and I'm like, there's no way that top part of the circle that's curved over is going to just sit there for, even for a couple days. Like, take what you can and run. But anyway, when they meet up again with the other two, it looks like, because they look all blown up, and I'm like, oh shit, like, were they on the mountain for some reason spying? But then the next chapter, it kind of like, it takes place at the same time as the other one. It's a weird character bonding thing between Gore and CL, where like Gore is going to teach CL some of her like alchemy type things for like the poisons, and in the process of like teaching her like the bits of like, oh, mix this and this, she does your typical high school like chemistry lab thing and blows everything up.
This is also
that's how they got blown up
after they spent the day kind of bonding, going to a food place that gets robbed, and then they stop the robbery. Then they realize they can't expose themselves, so they have to erase the memory of everyone. Like, it was a fun chapter. I will give you that.
Yeah. So like I love that. That was actually my favorite chapter. That was my favorite whole thing of the whole story, because it's like, I'm not gonna lie, like I was kind of getting tired of like, oh, it's her turn to try to kill Toto. And I really hope that plot device gets dropped into this first volume, because if it just keeps doing that, that's gonna get like, I'll admit that's gonna get old fast. It's getting old already.
I mean, I think it's just the kind of curse of a gag manga.
Yeah,
that you just have to keep coming up with, okay, what's the next gag I'm using? So it's going to be, what's my next like comical way attempt to kill this hero will fail? Like, what's the next technique for trying to kill the hero, and how's it going to fail in a comical way? So it's just going to be how much the authors can come up with that.
Well, I think that's pretty much it for like the synopses type things. So I guess we'll get some overview things. So I kind of like this whole manga. Like I said this already. Like I don't think it's great. I'm not telling you to go out and like read it or even watch the anime, but I will probably finish the manga at some point. Okay, like the manga's not finished, but like at some point I'll read some other chapters of the manga. If it never gets an official translation to somebody we know, I'll see, hey, can you send me a review copy, and I'll review it. Already got licensed through Crunchyroll. If it gets a dub though, if it gets a dub, like insert joke here that like Katie's gonna be cast as like, I don't know. Who do you think Kaylee would be? Yeah, Kaylee would be Gore. That's exactly who I think she'd be. But insert joke here of Manu being annoyed by that. I would love to watch it dubbed. I would just put it on the background and go about my day. You know, I would look up whenever something like silly happens or is said, but like not really watch it.
So you're not gonna watch it day one?
No,
you're not gonna watch it on July 5th.
You're not gonna review the anime for the website?
I wish it weren't on Crunchyroll. I don't like Crunchyroll. Crunchyroll sponsor us.
And Manuel changes tune. Don't worry. $200 is all you need.
Yeah, it's like, Crunchyroll's the best. Everyone go sub to it right now.
And that's not 25 including a free membership. That's just the $200.
Yes, but no, I'm looking for. Okay, to say I'm looking forward, that's too strong a word. But like, I enjoyed this one, and I thought it was a good. I'm not displeased with my choice. I do think there's some issues with the story. And one of the biggest, and like it took me to think about this later, because like when we recorded it last time, like I said, like I kind of had this like this shower moment after the show was done, where I started thinking about all the things I should have said. And now that we're doing the recording, I can say these things. One of the things I think would have helped this first volume, and hopefully they do more of it, is this manga needs a lot more characters, like side characters, even just like the guild, not the guild. I don't think they actually have a guild, but like the person who gives them the quest, that should have been a character. Why is that not a character? Like, and I know they show a person there, but why is that person have like just, you know? But
yeah, I think part of it is because we see them moving from town to town, so you can't really establish a core group of characters like that unless they return to one of these towns. So they would probably just have to increase the size of like the main party, or just like, oh yeah, here's another adventurer who's like doing like the same quest circuit that we're on.
Yeah. So like that's the obvious thing. Just have a random adventurer that like just pops up here and there, or another adventuring party. Actually, I guess it would have to be a party. But maybe they could have done a Nurse Joy.
Yeah, I was about to say that too.
Jenny type thing. Yeah, where like the person who like gives them the quest is the same person in every town. It's like, oh, we have 18 brother
cousins. I believe the Joy's Jennies are all cousins.
So yeah, like something like that. It's just like, I feel like that the whole manga is very thin and empty because of that.
Mhm.
And like even the characters we do have, like I know they do kind of show like those mob people who gave Monichon the hit thing before. They show them again later on because she like kind of betrays them a little. But why aren't they popping up here and there, like following them? Why don't we get an aside from the demon daddy dude? That's a weird way to phrase that. Demon daddy. I don't know why I said that. But anyway, why doesn't he pop up and like check it? Not like actually talk to her, but why don't we get like a panel where he's all like, my daughter's acting silly again. I'm gonna go okay, I'm probably saying things that the later manga does, and if it doesn't, I'll be very annoyed.
Like I can see some of these guys coming up. Like there's Demon King comes to check in on her, and it's like he has to play his disguise. CL has to play his disguise, and then you have to keep Toto, who's completely in the dark already. Like they probably didn't have to hide it that much, but they are completely committed to the disguise at that point. Kind of meet the parents kind of thing.
Yeah, and in case you haven't looked this up and you're only listening to this for whatever reason, in case you're curious, it's Gore and Mone-chan who are the big titty anime girls. CL is like your typical, looks like she's not 1,000 years old, but I'm sure she's actually like 1 billion years old type character.
Didn't they say she's like 14? You know? I could have sworn they said she was 14.
Dude, is she actually 14?
I could have sworn they said she was a young adult trying to get her own independence, so I didn't realize she was actually that young. So so thank God they're not going sus yet. Hopefully they don't. The hero, by the way, we didn't talk about the hero at all because like he is like the most nothing character so far. Yeah.
But like he's like tall, he has a scar on his face, and I think even like when Gore first meets him, she's all like, oh, he's a really handsome guy, like, you know, even with the scar on his face, which is nothing to say, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like he would be the perfect stereotypical hero if it wasn't for this huge scar on his face. It's like literally takes up like a half his face, and it's a burn scar from when his village was attacked. He's whatever. So yeah, those are my thoughts. It has potential. I like it. I'm not going to go out on a limb and say, oh, it's the best thing I ever read, the best thing but I like it a lot more than some of the stuff we've read even for this show.
Like I don't think it's terrible. I think it's the equivalent of a candy bar essentially. I'll watch it. I'll watch it on Crunchyroll probably as soon as I get done from AX, and then I will watch it all the way through. If it's good, laugh a couple times. Like I don't say a low bar for comedy, but it has some elements of like comedies I like. I don't think it's just doing them as well as some of the other comedies I like more. That's my way of seeing it.
It has big anime titties.
That doesn't instantly equal comedy, Manuel. But yes, I'm interested to see how it kind of tries to establish itself further in later volumes, later episodes, and if it crafts its own like unique identity that makes it stand out from other things.
B, what do you think?
I don't. I kind of forgot most about it. Most of the stuff about it.
It's actually hilarious. I didn't want to say this, but like when we recorded the first time, you actually, don't get me wrong, like you had a ton to say about it, but you said some stuff. This second time around, you've been very silent, and in my head the whole time, like B forgot this entire manga. I am calling it right now. B forgot this entire.
The thing is, you deleted your notes and had to retake them. I didn't. Yes. I still have my notes, and I'm like, man, I just really have so little like to say or even think about this manga.
No, it's good. I think it's better than Princess I think it's better than it's not better than Magic Knight Raiders, I think, in general, but then the manga, I think this is a better manga than Magic Knight Raiders volume 1 to volume 1. This is a better one in my opinion. Like the anime is probably going to be a million times not live up to because I love Raiders the anime. But yeah, I don't know, like
that was the one thing I did want to.
I thought Rare was better.
Oh my god, that's terrible.
Okay, it's the only one on this podcast who actually liked Rare. I definitely thought it was better. But the one thing I liked in chapter 1 that I forgot to say, I liked how they showed CL flying. It just had like Dragon Ball-esqueness to me, like the way it's depicted, like with the like sphere around her, and she's like has a hand up and she's flying. Maybe I'm thinking more of like American comics, but that might have also influenced Toriyama Sensei.
It's like I was gonna say it feels like what you're describing, and I remember the panel too. I can't open it because I gotta plug in my hard drive in a second. But it sounds like you're describing like a Magneto flight. Well, Magneto doesn't actually fly; he just lifts himself up with his like magnetic powers. I think that's how that works.
No, but I assume it's just trying to show like the dynamics of flight in a very superhero kind of way, and so it reminded me of what I remember like Dragon Ball with like not the auras around, like the air around them and how it moves. That was like one panel I really liked in that one. I will give you that.
Well, we got the slop manga out the way. What's up next?
The good one.
Okay, so I will admit this is the good one.
Mhm.
So I'll introduce it, obviously, B, because it's yours. But I want to make sure I get the story out here. When we decided on this whole thing, somehow the names of who picked what got like shuffled in my brain or just whatever. I got them all, and I read them like on the way to or from or during Fanime, which is a long time ago, by the way, guys. But anyway, I was reading them there, and when I was reading the manga, the Summer Hikaru Died, we already said that was going to be your choice. When I was reading that one, I was like, man, this is so good. And I'm like, and then later on, I had forgotten what the other pick was because I assumed it was yours, by the way. That's why I asked you, B. I'm like, what was the other manga? And it's like, oh, well, I picked this, and JD picked, Gachiakuta.
Gachiakuta.
And I'm like, you're the one who picked the Summer Hikaru Died? Like, I thought JD
I'm the one who picked the horror manga.
Okay, I'm being real here. B likes to pick like some like, and don't get me wrong, there's tinges of that. B likes to pick some of the most art housey writer school, like just graduated from,
I have a question.
You know what I mean? Like stuff artists
I have a question for
what?
you.
What?
Okay. Drop Tekken Kinkri. What's another one?
What was the other one you? Okay. To be fair, I am kind of generalizing.
You just
with,
didn't like Tekken Kinkri, and now you think every manga I pick is that.
So no, hold on. So like, technically, Uzumaki is okay. I'm not sure about Uzumaki. I'm going to stop right there.
Yeah,
but
I wouldn't file Uzumaki under that.
I know some of B's other picks and favorites for other things, and I don't want this is going to derail the whole thing. So I'm going to just throw this out there. We literally, between the two recordings, we had this, not I would say an argument, this huge discussion about a particular movie that we have
Pulse?
very differing views. Yeah, Pulse is a shitty movie. It puts me to sleep. And
Pulse is not even. Pulse is like a widely beloved. It's like one of the closest things to mainstream.
So is The Shining, and Shining just puts me to sleep. Anyway,
Shining's good.
No. Okay, there's a scene in Pulse where like, and this is a real scene. This is a scene in Pulse, and I'm not going to get into the whole plot about why this happens. There's a scene in Pulse where like this dude kind of gets infected by the thing that's happening, that's killing people, and he literally just like he's like tired, and he walks, and he like leans back against the wall and fades into it. I'm like, and I'm watching the movie, and I'm like, bro, that's fucking me, because this shit's putting me to sleep. I'm about to lean back and fade into this wall. But yeah, so like this is the kind of stuff B likes. So I'm like, there's no way B like the Summer Hikaru Died. Like this is actually good. This is actually good.
B, how does it feel to have him criticize your taste like that?
I mean, this is normal.
Yeah. So I like this one. So
I'm familiar with Manuel's like boring reactionary taste in everything.
Okay, I will admit I am pretty much like especially when it comes to horror. Horror is actually the perfect example of this. Is Pulse is a horror movie, this is horror. Like I'm very much like, nah, man, it needs to be fast, it needs to be like what was it I said? We were talking about this on the thing. Like, oh, blood, titties, gore. Like, give me that every few minutes. It got to
of
be
course,
big, dumb, and
titties has to be
stupid.
in there, Manuel.
Yes. And for the record,
because none of that's really in this one.
Okay, it isn't. So I'm doing this a really
like
horrible disservice. This literally, yeah, I'm doing this a horrible disservice. I'm describing exactly what Summer Hikaru Died is not.
Yes,
but I do think the pacing is a lot better though.
Okay, so what's this manga actually about?
Okay, yeah, I'll let you. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, the Summer Hikaru Died by Mokumokuren. This is a sort of it's a horror, but it's very light on the horror, at least at first. It's more of a drama. It's a slice of life. We have these two teenage boys, high school boys, Yoshiki and Hikaru, and they're these really interesting characters, I think. Because one of them, we learned pretty much right at the beginning, disappeared months ago. And the other one is kind of his lonely friend who's like, hey, are you real? And like right away we get he's not. He's this kid's been replaced by a monster after he was out in the woods several months ago. And I think it's really interesting because you'd think kind of like either the monster's going to eat the other kid or the other kid's going to run away in fear. but they have this like deep connection instead. It's more like, hey, I'm a monster, but I want to know what it's like to be human. I want to experience human life.
Mhm.
And the other kid's like, I'm just gonna pretend you're not a monster. Shut up.
Mhm.
You're my friend, and you better start acting like it.
Like he says, that's basically the first chapter when Yoshi confronts Hikaru, asks him, "Are you the real Hikaru?" And he's like, "How did you see through my disguise?" I thought it was perfect. We also get like part of his face, warping, melting in a way that I described as Ito-esque, just because that's one of my only frame of references for Japanese manga horror.
I want to steal this for a second again, because I mentioned this in the last one. I want to make sure I don't forget to do it this time. And I remember the titles of everything this time. When I first started reading this, I thought that it was going to be, and I only bring this up now because this isn't the case, obviously. I thought it was going to be that Yoshiki was just crazy and that Hikaru was not actually dead. Hikaru did not just melt in the first volume, because like I was referencing, like not referencing, but I was recalling when I was reading this whole thing, there was this movie I'd watched like a while, not that long ago, called They Looked Like People. It's called They Look Like People. You can watch it for free on Tubi as of the time of this recording. It's just like, it's also a slow burn art house type film, but it's a good one. I'm very inconsistent, aren't I?
Yes.
And it's about a guy who thinks that, like, you know, there's like monsters in the world, and a very similar thing happens. Like, I really don't think that there was any obviously influences going on here. That movie was out a while ago though, but whenever he thinks that he sees someone, they like freeze and they start melting and their face gets all weird. And I'm like, oh shit, this is gonna be one of those. He's just crazy. But no, he's not. I don't know if that's what you guys thought at the first thing, but I don't know if I was disappointed or not. But I do wish they kept it more ambiguous for a bit longer. They don't keep it ambiguous at all. I'm reading extra into this.
Sorry, I'd like to just go with what I thought this was going to be before we got here. I thought this was going to be like a tragedy. I thought like Hikaru was going to die at the very end, and it would just be like their relationship leading up to his death, kind of like that's a spoiler. I'm not gonna go into that. But it's going to be like, oh yeah, here's their tragic friendship that just ended with Hikaru dying at the end of the summer for some reason. No horror, just relationship. Like either friendship or romantic.
What I had assumed the first time I read, like the first time I heard the name of it, and it got like kind of the idea of the vibe and stuff. But I did at some point go into this knowing that he was a monster. I was surprised at how early the reveal was, so I did think that was like a hallucination or like kind of a misdirect. But it is really surprising that, like, no, right off the bat, no, he's Milton.
Yeah.
From there, it's mostly a slice of life. We get, little scenes of their lives as students and their sort of home lives.
Yeah, because it's not implied. He says it straight up. Hikaru does. Well, the thing,
new Hikaru,
the thing that's inside of Hikaru, new Hikaru. Yeah, that's new Hikaru and Hikaru. So first of all, I feel like I remembered we didn't mention this at the very end. Like, in case you're wondering, we only technically have new Hikaru's word on this, but Hikaru's dead. Yeah. Like, original Hikaru is dead. That's not really a mystery. Like, is he missing? Is he in a cave? Is he like frozen in a block of ice? But then again, he'd be dead anyway if he was just living in the woods for like 6 months. But according to new Hikaru, he came upon him dying and then assumed his form after when he died. And then he kind of grew to love human life and even like loved like Yoshiki and the friends and whatever. And that's why he doesn't want any of this to end. He's very happy in his current setup.
Yeah, he notes that he does have most of Hikaru's memories. I think there are a few days, just so he doesn't spoil exactly what happened to Hikaru yet, that are fuzzy in his memory. But yes, I like the kind of the becoming human, the unique look at like how things happen for humans. Like he sees a movie that Yoshiki notes that they've seen 5 times, and he's crying like he's Shinichi from Tenmaku Cinema. Like anytime he sees a movie, call back.
That I can see after Tenmaku Cinema why Manuel might have thought that this was your choice.
Yeah, I was gonna say that kind of is a Tenmaku Cinema moment. I like Tenmaku Cinema for the record. I love Tenmaku Cinema. That should get an anime.
I was probably more negative on it at the time, but I've definitely it grew on me eventually.
Yeah, when we recorded that, I didn't know that both of you had gone to film school, so that was interesting to learn in the episode.
Yeah. Yeah. But obviously we took different lessons. Like B became like art house film student, and I became blood, titties, and gore film student. But yes,
it's so funny how often you use the word art house, and you never mean the same thing by it.
Like I said, I'm super inconsistent about everything I say. Just
the only thing that is consistent about Manuel is that he is inconsistent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyway, go on with what the manga is about.
The next like major thing that happens, I think, is oh man, now I forgot.
Oh,
Was it where
they're I think they're either walking home or going to either the mall or the diner, and it's the old lady who's yelling at them, right? Yeah.
Yes. There's the cat too.
Yeah.
So we find that like Hikaru, while he can like fool most people, animals obviously can see through his disguise, and so can old people.
Well, that old
I don't
person,
think that's the actual lesson.
the old person knows his name. She calls him something. I don't remember what it is.
I have it over here somewhere. It is
No Nuki-sama.
No Nuki-sama. Thank you. Yes, but
Yeah.
I mean, the cat could also just be a cat. Cats don't need a reason to dislike you. They can just decide that they love you one moment and then they hate you the next. That's just being a cat. Let's just be honest here.
Yes, but I do think it's a pretty
Common horror trope, yes.
thing for a cat to be mad or scared of the weird thing.
Well, dogs too.
But it is also, it is also.
Oh my
a pretty
God.
common cat behavior.
No, nobody Google that name. I just spoiled all of the Summer Hikaru Died.
Oh,
anyway,
well,
don't Google it. Yeah, nobody Google it. I'm actually being serious. That's not a joke. Don't Google it. I spoiled everything.
The thing is, you say it's a spoiler, but is this like a?
I know what Hikaru
like
is and everything.
A specific like spoiler, or is this like a
it's like for the
that you would know if you were Japanese.
No, this is specific to the Summer Hikaru Died. That's why I looked it up. I was gonna say like, oh, it turns out that I was gonna be that guy. I'm like, it turns out that it's an actual malevolent spirit. No, it's not that. It's from the Summer Hikaru Died. So, but yeah, she knows him. The old lady does.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how.
I just assumed she was supposed to be the old lady we think is just, not all together in her head, but is in some way right later, like the warning that the protagonists ignore in many horror stories. And then this manga also has like little bits, like either at the ends of chapters, sometimes flashbacks and little bits between. And I think in one of those flashbacks, we learn more about No Nuki-sama.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to figure out where it is. Oh, yeah, here we go. I found it. Original Hikaru learns from, I think it's his dad. We learned that No Nuki-sama like snatches up members of the family that don't get married to their love pretty quickly. So essentially he's just going around snatching up hot singles in your area like you could do with this month's sponsor. Sorry, that joke doesn't work as much the second time I'm saying it because they already knew it was coming. But for you, you're hearing it the first time, so I hope it works.
That old lady is also a very good I couldn't remember his name last time I recorded it, and I actually watched it. See, it's glad we did it a little later. I actually watched the movies again. But yeah, she's like she is the Summer Hikaru Died. Crazy Ralph is his name. It's the dude from it's the dude they always parodied, like because he's in the first two Friday the 13th movies, and he's the guy who's always like warning the kids not to go to Camp Crystal Lake, and he's like, it has a death curse. It's like his famous line. But, yeah, she's the crazy Ralph of this, but she's like trying to warn. Well, she doesn't try to warn, but she's like, it's you. And then Hikaru, I think, kills her.
Well,
I don't know.
We don't see it.
Yeah, but something sure does.
Something kills her. Yeah, I forgot another thing I wanted to compliment this manga on, like the way Mokumokuren, and I'm sorry, uses like the sound effects on the page is really interesting. Like, if the cicadas are really loud, there will just be like a wall of like the cicada sound effects on top of the panel, and it just does sense really well.
I love that.
I hate the sound of cicadas, and it was actually like annoying the hell out of me because I think the manga actually opens with them buying ice cream at a convenience store when like, and it's just like cicada sound effects on the side or whatever. I'm like, oh my god, I would kill every cicada on earth. I don't know if they're necessary for our survival, but if I had the power, there wouldn't be cicadas on this planet.
Okay, note to self: don't give Manuel the Infinity Gauntlet.
Exactly. Yeah, just snap them out of existence.
Yeah, and
that does bring up something aside from the plot. Like, there is so much going on in this from like just a craft perspective. Considering, like, keeping in mind that this is this person's first serialized manga, and in fact, I think they had only done one shot before, which was also this. This is adapted from a one shot originally.
A BL one shot.
Released, which is also something like this isn't. I think they've said it's not supposed to be seen as a BL now because they wanted it to be more. They wanted it to be seen as more like serious, I guess. And people will see BL as a specific type of thing and set it aside it in its own category. And I still think there's possibly a gay relationship going on between the two, but it hasn't been, as far as we've read, it's not like 100% solid there. But just looking at it from like the craft perspective, I'm like, this is really strong and really incredible for a first time manga.
Yeah,
the horror is great. The paneling, the art, the shadows, the sound effects, all of it is like just so top notch. And it's like there are professional working mangaka right now who do not do this well.
Yeah, it lends a lot to the atmosphere that really then lends itself into the horror. The specific panel in this chapter, or maybe it's the next one that I want to talk about. No, it's chapter 2. It's just the one where it's the door, like the screen door to the lady's place. And all we see is like whatever's on the other side of that, just repeating her name multiple times. Yes, but the way it's like
the same thing now.
But the way it's paneled out, like all the speech bubbles, the text in the bubbles, it's just terrifying to look at. And as I noted last time, as someone who's kind of had to live through that, really hits home.
It's crazy you bring that up because I'm one of those people that you probably hate people like me. I like to consider it like I'm reading the Japanese way. Like I kind of ignore the art most of the time. I'll get the visuals of the action and what's happening. And it's also why I miss a lot of small points. Like I kept missing that flower, the fucking anemone that kept showing up in Princess Eye until the fucking the anemone. I still don't even know how. I actually don't know if either of those are right. If either one was right. Anemone?
Yes, in an anemone.
Neither. It's an enemy. But no, I didn't notice the freaking the names being repeated because I just kind of shut that off in my brain. I just saw sound effect and then the big one. Because
we don't see if it's Hikaru who kills her. We just see something dragging off her body, like whatever's doing it is off screen. But we see the body being dragged through the hallway.
Yeah, and then the sound effect is upside down too on the final panel. But then I was gonna say to Manuel's point, go back like a few pages to where he's describing how he found Hikaru dying, and then suddenly he was him. And there's just like a single panel shot of just a shoe with like what appears to be little drops of blood on it.
Oh,
like you gotta pay attention to the pictures. It's a visual medium. We're not reading a book.
You know what? Manuel's just living the podcast title. He's reading the wrong way.
Exactly. He is reading the wrong way.
End episode.
So much easier with just big anime titties.
But it's not supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be good.
I guess to move this along a little more, things get a little more intense when like we start learning more about like these spirity type things, because at one point they end up like they end up following one of their friends in the friend group to like back to the woods because he had to like walk a different path for some reason.
Yeah, the tunnel he generally goes home through is closed due to construction, so he has to go through the woods. But the woods are so scary that he can't look away from his path because it's just too frightening for him. So he wants other people to see, is anything scary actually going on here? Turns out there is a spirit in there. But it doesn't bother them the way they go with him. It's only when they come back.
Yeah, it actually tries to attack what's-his-face, Yoshiki, and like Hikaru like stops it. And I'm like, what? There's other spirits here? It's kind of confusing, but it's literally this the only time we see it in this volume, but I wonder how that's going to play into it more. And it also makes me wonder, because it happens right after that old lady gets killed. I'm like, did Hikaru kill the old lady? Or was it this fucker? Like this other spirit that like Hikaru stopped for a minute.
I mean, it could
also like a mystery we're getting set up here.
Yeah. But we do also see like the possessiveness that new Hikaru has over Yoshiki, because the spirit that's attacking them also seems to want to kill him. He's like, no, he's mine. You can't have him, kind of stuff. And I think it says he slurps up the other spirit. It's how I believe he was described. Yeah. But he like slurps it up into him. I believe is how he describes it.
Speaking of slurping up, the next chapter has the one scene that I feel, if you just took it out of context, it feels very BL.
Oh, yeah.
they're having their moment in the PE staff piece
Storage room.
the PE storage room. That's what I'm looking for. No, I watched Bill and Ted the other day. Bill and Ted's Bogus Adventure, whatever the second one, Bogus Journey, and it reminds me of the scene where like the two robot evil Bill and Ted's rip open their stomachs and they have like the machines in there. But that basically describe what happens. Hikaru's all like, "Hey,
you want to feel around inside me?"
Yeah, exactly. You want to be inside me, bro? And it's like.
And then it turns out he's raw chicken.
Yeah, he feels like raw chicken and marinade.
Yeah, see, this one definitely felt the most sexually charged. Like, was this in the original one shot? Because this definitely feels like it was going for like boys love aesthetics. Okay,
so I'm gonna mention this again. I mentioned it the first time we recorded. I actually bought the manga on Kindle, and I don't have my Kindle around here. I think it's in my bag or whatever, so I just have it pulled up like on the freaking Amazon thing. So I'm actually seeing the panel again, and I forgot how like. And I was describing this before I actually saw it. Before I saw it like in my face, but I was saying it like there's a now you might be like obviously like yeah, they're obviously kind of doing a whole sexual undertone here, but like there's the part where like he's all like. Hikaru is where he's describing he likes the feeling because it feels like what is it like a dog being patted or
like head pats.
What does he say?
But even on top of that, we haven't really described it. Hikaru has like a giant opening in his chest, and it is very yonic looking. Yeah,
or that Uzumaki in it because it like swirls.
Yeah, and he asks Yoshiki, "Hey, you want to stick your hand in that?" And he does, and it's just like pleasure to him. He might not know. You might not have enough of like human context to realize that's close to sexual pleasure, but it definitely looks like it to us.
It looks like he came. I'm not even making a dirty joke there. I'm being dead serious. Yeah. Now that I'm actually watching it again, it looks like he actually climaxed here because like in the actual shot, he's like leaning over him. He has like his mouth open, like he's like gasping, and then he pulls him closer, like inward.
And like his grip on Yoshiki's shoulder too.
Yeah, I think he actually like he finished, man. Oh yeah, and then it almost eats Yoshiki while he's inside. I mean, it doesn't almost eat him, but it does suck him in more. And I said this last time, but I do think that that's also a clear sign that he might have climaxed there because I think he lost control. I think he's kind of like making sure the insides don't suck him up. And then when he like had his moment, he's like, oh shit, Yoshiki, no, like, don't go all the way in.
Yeah, and we can see how this bothers Yoshiki too, and Hikaru's just like laughing it off.
Yeah, he's like, "Was it good for you?"
Yeah, like I said earlier, I think just part of it is that new Hikaru doesn't really have the context for all of human interaction and doesn't realize the undertones of this or how it looks to an outsider who's not him, which is weird because he's the outsider.
Right.
Yeah, he's filled with marinated chicken,
raw marinated chicken.
Have you ever like? It's funny because like I remember I haven't done this recently. Like whenever I make chicken, I think I just like throw shit in the pan. But like I remember a long time ago, I was making like whatever the chicken version of like carne asada is. I guess it's
pollo asada.
But I just realized, I guess it's pollo. But yeah, it's asado. See, I didn't know that. But anyways, I do remember like, and he was in a marinade. I remember as a kid, it's really funny because I don't know. I remember this last time I didn't say it, but like unlocked a memory, like even reading that. I remember being as a kid playing in it. Chicken, I'm sure I'm like covered in salmonella. I know that's a terrible thing to do. But I remember playing in it because I'm like, I like it. And I remember even like taking my hands out, like, it tastes good too. Like, bro, I'm surprised I survived. Like,
excuse me while I gag, Manuel.
Yeah. Well, I didn't eat the chicken. I just like the marinade that was. I didn't eat the marinade. I just licked the marinade off my hands.
Okay.
I'm not a ghoul. I didn't pick up a raw slice.
Man, you could tell me anything about your childhood, and I would basically believe it.
And in case you're wondering, nobody saw me do that. So like, it's not like anybody was like, "Don't do that." So I didn't know. I don't think I knew any better. Not that I did that a lot because I think it's the one-time-ish thing. And I had a chance to do it, but I didn't know that was a terrible thing to do on many levels. So I was a lot older.
You could have gotten away with it, but now it's immortalized forever on the internet.
Yeah, exactly. To our tens of viewers, but yes, listeners, I should say. And then after that, Yoshiki goes shopping and he finds a housewife.
Oh yeah, but before we get there, I had another like moment where I could sympathize. Like as he's shopping, when he's buying, was it horseradish? mustard.
Super spicy mustard.
Yeah, super spicy
Wasabi
mustard
Oh.
for his sister. He meets the cashier, who is just like a gossipy hen. Like, she knows who he is and like everything about his family, because this is a small town that they live in the middle of nowhere. Even their actions kind of reflect that they are in like the Japanese version of the countryside, though Yoshiki's mother is from Tokyo, so he sometimes slips into a more like formal dialect. That's not really the point of this, but like that she knows everyone in town, knows his family like goings on, knows Hikaru's family is going on. And that's like, yeah, that just reminds me of my town. Like, I'm from a small town by California standards, which means my graduating class still had more people than most actual small towns. But yeah, it's really hard to find someone who doesn't know like some member of my family. It's like, oh yeah, I know your aunt. She was a teacher at school or something or other, or I went to school with your mom or something. It's really hard, even in a town that is in the tens of thousands.
Yeah, it reminded me too of I just recently watched, I don't know if you guys have seen Best Wishes to All, which is a pretty relatively new J horror movie. Just got released on Shudder, but it's actually a couple years old.
Mhm.
But for us it's new. It's just a very similar like small town horror where you get this kind of sense of everybody knowing each other, and that kind of like felt similar in this particular scene.
Mm-hmm. And then when he's outside, he runs into like a woman who can see spirits, or like is at least more inclined to seeing spirits and understands the situation. Like, says, if there's anything you want to talk about, please call me.
Yeah. And she kind of scares him, like, don't, you need to stop. You know, like, I know what you're doing.
Yeah.
But I have to warn you.
So she eventually does, and like I feel like that's the next important scene where they meet at the American restaurant. But prior to that, real fast, before Yoshiki's still debating whether he's a messenger or not, she messages him like, "Are you okay to talk?" And Hikaru sees it and gets like very jealous.
Yeah.
Like,
this was my third. Yeah, I understand this weird mixture of jealousy, friendship, maybe some romantic feelings. We're still not entirely sure on how original Hikaru felt and how that's influencing new Hikaru along with their own memories made together. So yeah, that's a terrible cocktail to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, I'm pretty sure he's
on Yoshi's face, like through this entire manga, he is not having a good time. He's not having a good life.
Oh, his head is down most of it. Yeah. But no, it's funny because I don't think Yoshiki, when he sees the messages, like, don't get me wrong, I'm pretty sure the housewife is not long for this world, like what she ends up saying, but it doesn't seem like he's upset about that. It just seems like he's like, who's this girl? Like, why is Domino's texting you? What you doing? You know, like, you know what I mean? It felt like that kind of moment. Oh shit, I almost fell off a chair. Yeah, why is Domino's? I'm like, what the hell? Like, it's very like toxic girlfriend. You know what I mean?
Yeah, once again, as someone who's been in that mindset, even just on a friendly level, terrible thing to have, not healthy. Please get help or seek support from someone, probably not the person you're being toxic towards at that point.
Yes. Do not, maybe don't find it through a mysterious psychic housewife, but seek support. But speaking of which, they go to an American restaurant. Is it an American restaurant?
The name of the family restaurant is America. They serve vaguely American inspired food.
Yes, I think it actually says that in one of the author sides or whatever you call that kind of thing.
It does.
The housewife mentions that like she was it her husband?
Yes.
Yeah, it was her husband. Her husband went to the mountains. Something came back. Like, you know, I guess he went missing. And then what showed back up as her husband was not her husband. And I don't think she actually says if what ended up happening to the new husband, but it did literally, I think she says like it left a scar, an unforgettable, like an unhealable scar or something on her son, on their son, I should say.
Yeah.
So some shit went down. We don't get the full story yet, but basically she's describing the story that this happened to me too. I know exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is that Hikaru? Was that another Hikaru? Like, it's in like, you know, the spirit. Is that the Nonoki? What was it?
Nonoki-sama?
Yeah, is it Nonoki-sama again, or was that like, does she have? Or because obviously there's more than one spirit up there.
Yeah,
I think like we are getting the sense that whatever new Hikaru is still like a young version of whatever he is. So it feels like there must have been like maybe he had like a spirit parent that he lost at some point, and now he's like out trying to figure this out for himself.
Like going about what we were told about Nanuki-sama, how it like snatches up people, and what we've seen of Hikaru, how they get like these intense attachments and insane jealousy towards someone. I think that whatever possessed her husband was this a similar kind of spirit attached to her, and didn't like that he showed love towards their son, and that's why it lashed out and eventually forced her to, I guess, get rid of him in some way that we'll learn later.
It's like reverse Tomiya.
Yeah.
I mean, I only know Tomiya from like the one anime special he did of it, so
well,
I know I need to read it.
Yeah, I'm about to learn a couple months.
More come October, I know.
Yes, but interesting, yeah. But she also mentions, the housewife does, that once again, I'm not sure if she's still describing the husband's, like the new husband's spirit or whatever, but she's like, there was a malevolence up in the mountains that she had been noticing for like a while, and then suddenly it disappeared, like it just stopped, and now suddenly she feels it in Hikaru. So it's moving. It's moved to the town. So that's the big thing. She's like, it's here. So watch out. And I'm pretty sure she's gonna die after this. She doesn't die in this chapter, but I'm pretty sure she's gonna die in the next one. I'm just telling you like it is. Like
here again, she might die. Maybe she'll be a frequent. I was gonna say collaborator, but no. Maybe she'll show up again. Maybe she'll keep talking with Yoshiki. Maybe we don't know yet.
Yeah. Also, that whole scene,
the panel.
Huh?
Oh, go ahead.
We're talking about you're still talking about the housewife, or you're gonna move? Because I want to.
No, I was gonna move on. So you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love that it closes the scene when their order actually arrives, or I don't know who ordered it. I mean, I'm sure it was her. I doubt Yoshiki ordered what comes up next. It's like, here's your order: one American Mega Deluxe Mountain President. And I just thought it was funny because it looks like a fucking mess. Like they just threw everything in there, and I'm like, they got the American president right this time. I mean, I'm sure this manga came out before, but but still. They got I know it came out I'm sure during the last presidency. Someone's gonna correct me, but I don't care. I still say what I said. It's like that truly is representation. Just random shit thrown in there.
When did this? Yeah, this started in 2021.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I was gonna say it's the other guy, but honestly, that presidency had its moments too.
But let's move on. Apparently, Manuel cut out, so I'm gonna move on without him. Okay, see, yeah, you're back.
No, now you're back. Next we get is Yoshi alone after school, and kind of just like he doesn't want to go out there because he's kind of trying to avoid Hikaru. He has these very complicated feelings, especially after meeting with the housewife. Now he really just wants to be alone. Obviously, he's like, hey, tell Hikaru to go home without me. And then this incredible panel where his head's down on the desk and he's melting.
I don't remember how I phrased it last time, but I love the juxtaposition to how this whole chapter ends, and it's perfect to that. And it's funny because that whole thing is like something B would say, but I was thinking about it was in my notes too. But like, oh, it's the like he melted down, and the other thing, yeah. So anyway, you go on.
I like vaguely remember what you said the last time we recorded this, but now I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, I don't remember either, but I remember I made a reference to that. I don't think he meant.
Because at the end of the chapter, he's melting up.
Yeah, and it's like the perfect juxtaposition of what's happening. And like I said, that's some Tech on King Creep BS right there. I just said. So let's keep going on. So yeah, Yoshi comes in.
That's how storytelling works.
When you're using a visual medium as well to enhance your dialogue, that's what I'm looking for. But yes.
Yeah, Hikaru finds him alone in the classroom and makes a funny face, and Yosuke's just like, man, I do not want to be here. I love whoa, he's not laughing at my funny face.
And then
they basically have a breakup.
They fight, they argue, and he's like, you're not the original Hikaru, and you'll never be, kind of thing. Stop trying to act like that. And then we get our second Ito-esque moment, or like big Ito-esque moment, I guess. Where
this is when Hikaru melts up.
Yeah, he melts up, and that's how the chapter ends.
Yeah,
and this is another, like, goes back to him being not just a teenage boy, but a teenage whatever else he is. and he's just like cannot. He's not in control of his feelings, and that's why he's melting.
A very good metaphor, allegory for like teenage emotion, teenage angst.
Yeah, which also like this is absolutely like a coming of age story too.
Mm-hmm. I think there are just a lot of like things you can map onto. Oh, my friend went away one summer and came back a completely different person, either in personality, in physically, or just like even emotionally, having discovered something new about themselves, having learned their sexuality, their gender, like something new about that, and essentially coming out to you.
Yeah.
I say that as a cishet man, so I'll take that at what little value it counts for.
And then we get the great full page of like whatever Hikaru is. And Yoshiki's sticking his hand in there.
Yoshiki has his hand in it?
Oh, and that's yeah, the right after because Hikaru's holding his hand when his face explodes. And then
I forgot. Okay,
panel, Hikaru's kind of expanded into a whole mess of I think last time we recorded this, we settled on it being like memories.
Yeah.
Sort of, because you can see little bits of like signs and panels from other chapters and stuff.
Yeah.
All I know is that in the upper right, the far upper right, because it's a 2-page, but in the far upper right, it looks kind of like a Shy Guy mask, like as if it got like, you know what I mean? You see what I'm talking about? It looks like a Shy Guy mask, like from Mario.
And that's
Mario
from the
2.
time that they played Mario together.
Yeah, exactly. Damn Shy Guy.
Sadly, the summer Hikaru and I played Mario and died in that was just a bit too long for the manga, the magazine.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Do you think Yoshiki's gonna buy them a Switch 2?
I don't think he has enough money.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and this little town.
Well, maybe a few chapters from now he gets a part-time job or a few volumes.
And there is a bonus chapter in this manga particularly that ends the volume, by the way, about like hairpins or not hairpins, like barrettes, or is that the word? Hair clips.
Barrettes, I think is.
Yeah.
Hikaru gives him to Yoshiki, right? Is that what's going on here?
Yes.
Yoshiki's obviously like, hey, these are too girly, but he puts one in Hikaru's hair anyway, like when he's not looking. And then later on, when he's studying, he ties up his like bang. Oh, because there's a running joke. We didn't mention it all this time. There's a running joke throughout the entire thing that he needs to get a haircut or his hair's too long.
His bangs are too long specifically.
Yeah, his bangs specifically. So he uses the hair clip to like pull the bangs to the side. And he has a little sister who we also didn't mention at all. Yoshiki does. And the little sister's like, can I have that? It's actually a popular character. And then while that's happening, Hikaru messages and it's like, hey, I saw you put the hair clip on. I didn't notice until like gym class or whatever. It's like, doesn't matter. Like, all you did was like make me cuter anyway. Or I forgot what he says exactly. But yeah,
don't make me cuter than I already am.
Yeah, that's what
it
is.
There you go. That's the whole aside. I wonder when that happened. I assume obviously that's still new Hikaru because the way Yoshiki's acting, but it's still like that feels like almost like an old Hikaru scene. Not that we ever got one, but it just feels like that would be one.
Yeah. I love the final panel of that when she's looking at Yoshiki with the thing in his hair, and he does absolutely have like an Ito-esque face.
Yes,
with the because that's another thing that Ito's so good at is like mixing humor with his horror.
Also,
just,
I don't know if you ever noticed this.
Face.
I mentioned this in the Uzumaki one. I don't know if you guys remember. Ito has a very, I don't know if it's like a thing he prefers. He very rarely draws people with like girls, especially with like obviously like Tomi has bangs, but he is very, very he has a lot of forehead in his mangas. And now that I say that, go look at it and you'll see what I mean. It's like I always make that joke. You want to draw an Ito character, just a lot of forehead, like empty real estate.
Yeah, if you give a character bangs, then it's like obvious that he's drawing Tomie.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think I mentioned that at some point. Like I forgot which character in Uzumaki. It's like, oh look, she looks different because they gave her bangs or something like that. But anyway, it's neither here nor there. I just thought that was funny. My point is, I love that the Ito. Part of me is like, is that why I think that's Ito? It isn't the only reason, but it is one of them for me at least. I'm like, you get rid of the bangs. It's like an Ito character.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was the juxtaposition of like how just the look in his eyes. The like he looks so dead and empty, and then just sort of like the slightest hint of a smile and the beret holding up his bangs with the little face on it.
One last thing before we go into like what we thought about the manga in general. I do want to mention, obviously there's the anime coming out, but there is a novelization of this that you could read now, also officially from Yen Press. And I mentioned it before, but I bought the novel on accident, and I remember like thinking. And by the way, I was still thinking this is like B's choice or whatever. I mean, not B's choice. I was still thinking this is JD's choice. And on the way to Fanime, I'm reading it. And I'm like, wait, this is a novel. Like, what's JD doing? It's like I was so confused. I'm like, JD, I can't believe it. I guess this is still reading, and I kept going. And then like partway through, there wasn't even illustrations. Like, no, I'm doing something wrong. Like, there's a manga somewhere.
You really were reading the wrong way.
Exactly. No, but in all seriousness, like the novelization I think does condense it all, because I accidentally read a little past this, not too much, and just I didn't stop because of that, because obviously I hadn't read the actual manga yet, but I did stop and I was like, this is wrong. I'll come back to this. And I was like on a bus. It wasn't until I got to Fanime I figured it out for the way back. I was like, oh yeah, and that's why you mentioned
that. I am curious how long this manga is going to go, and if they already know how it's going to end.
Yeah,
and it's already 6 volumes, which feels a little long. So I'm curious, like how much more of this is there? I guess we can get into like our final thoughts and stuff now, because I am definitely gonna keep reading this one.
My theory is that two other spirits come down from the mountains, and they each take turns trying to kill Yoshiki.
Are you just trying to combine this with the other one?
Yes. IG Sensei for 4 more volumes, and it wraps up. But no, I'm just kidding. I like this one. This is I'm going to say it now because it's like this is no surprise. We read them all. Even when we did the last recording, this is my favorite of the whole of the trio by a fucking mile. This is like amazing.
This is one of my favorite manga I've read in a very long time.
Yeah,
I try to kind of keep up on new manga now and then. I'm not super great at it, but like it has been a long time since I've read a newish manga that I liked as much as this.
Yeah, I really like this one. This was my favorite one as well. I really want to see where this story goes. Like I said, what I think happened, but I'm interested to see how well I guess things and how well Mokumokuren twists everything we think we know.
And as of the time of recording, Volume 7 comes out next week.
Oh, cool.
Oh. Yeah, the anime does.
I don't know about the English translation.
I think.
Well, Yen Press does pretty good jobs of turning around.
I know at least Volume 1 is on the shelves because I see it at my local comic book store.
I think most of the volumes are out in English, if I'm not mistaken, like 4 or 5.
Yeah, they generally have like the first 3 if we're lucky.
Volume 6 comes out in English in October of this year.
But yeah, the only reason I know how many volumes there were because I had to re-download the volume, and I'm like, oh shit, most of them are already available in English.
Okay.
And I'm out of credit, or I'd buy them all now. But I do plan to read it all eventually. Honestly, I'm one of those people too. I'm like, I'll probably watch the anime when it comes out, then maybe I'll read the manga later. I'm gonna finish the novel because I have the novel, I guess.
Yeah,
that's probably what I'm gonna do first. Spoil it all for me right
away. The anime will be out on Netflix.
I believe it's July 4th. I believe it has premiered at Anime Expo. It's either the 4th or the 3rd. I can't remember which.
It's probably the 3rd then, or the 4th. It has to be the 4th. It doesn't matter.
I'm gonna do my best to catch it there, along with the premiere of our next one. But I don't want to get ahead of ourselves.
So yeah, I think that's I liked it. Definitely was the best. This is honestly one of the best mangas we read. I kind of wish it was done and shorter, so we could have just read it as its own episode.
Yeah, I'm honestly like, depending on how short it is, maybe we do make a full episode of it when it comes out.
Well, I mean, if it's reaching volume 7, that technically means it's going to be 2 episodes at least.
So we'll see. Yeah,
but I mean, we did read volume 1, so if it ends in volume 7, we could do the last 6 volumes as just their own episode.
We'll just read the book. Yeah. But yes, the last manga
is mine, Gachiakuta by Kei Urana. That will be premiering also at Anime Expo on either the 3rd or the 4th. Definitely one I'm going to be picking up. B, I believe you brought it up last time that Kei Urana is a former assistant to the mangaka for Soul Eater, whose name I will have right now. It is
Okubo.
Okay, I was right. It is Atsushi Okubo. And I think you can see like a bit of that in her style, how kind of working under him reflects in her style. And I really like this one. I first learned of it when we were interviewing Demon Dice at Anime Weekend Atlanta 2022. And she said it was one she really liked and she wanted to play one of the female characters in it. Just because I threw that in as a random question.
From what little I know of Demon Dice, this feels like a Demon Dice manga.
Yeah, I mean, it has a credited like graffiti artist designer in here. It's got that like anti-consumerist punk, a bit of punk attitude to it as well.
And that graffiti artist is Ando Hideyoshi.
This is a more, I guess, traditional shonen manga, as from what we can see at least. I'm sure at some point it'll start doing more to differentiate itself. But even off the bat, it kind of says hyper-consumerism is really bad. Consumerism probably needs to be reined in. Like the first color page is just talking about the Japanese concept of sukumogami, that something well taken care of for a long period of time will gain its own like spirit or god. It then contrasts this with trash that is discarded after its usefulness is ended. We are then treated to a girl having her dog plush break, and instead of even trying to get it repaired, just like sewn back together, her mother just says they'll buy a new one. Just like that, humans turn a thing into garbage. Then they treat it like something dirty. They never see value in it again. They even do it to other humans. That is a direct quote from the first, I think, the fourth page. I'm just going by what I remember in my head. I don't have it in front of me. I read this on Kei Manga. I believe the first volume there is free. Then after that, you have to use their coin system, which is just really complicated. I really don't like it. I would much rather just pay a monthly subscription to be able to read all I want.
Like you get with Shonen Jump or Viz or the other one. I can't
Manga
remember.
Plus?
I think there's another one. That's,
and also Square Enix's one whose name I can't remember.
Oh, jeez. How many of these are there?
Yeah.
I know about saying there's too many. I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
That kind of thing is why I decided to just get these last two manga on Kindle too.
Yeah, I can understand that. So yes, we're then introduced to our main character. His name is Rudo. He is rummaging through the trash at a waste collection facility and is then pursued by the guards. To them, he's known as the Trash Raider, the fiend who threatens the beauty of our streets by bringing that filth back into them. We get a chase scene as he's pursued by them through the facility and into the streets. I really like how Urana Sensei conveys action in these panels. I feel like the lines are always like leading into the action and help me focus on what's going on. I also like the angularity. I don't know if that's a proper term to her style, but it's something unique, and I like the use of shadows in it as well. After escaping from the guards, we see that Rudo has taken the broken plush we saw at the beginning. He's planning to repair it and give it to his friend Chiwa. We also get some exposition on how the city that he lives in works. There's the well-off district that is just for like the rich people, those like the ones we saw in like the first panel who can casually discard things and never have to think about them again. And then there's the slums for, as they are called here, the tribes people, dirty, broken down. We learn later that they're apparently descendants of criminals, and this used to be essentially the prison section of town. In those slums, Rudo is accosted by Chiwa, who is more just worrying for his safety. She doesn't want him to like get caught and then thrown into the pit, which is where they throw big criminals.
Was it not that they throw everyone in there?
No, they just throw the really crazy criminals.
Yeah, I feel like they throw the
setup,
worst criminals, but we don't really see much of the system up here.
When I wrote, for some reason, I had put in my notes that that every crime is punishable by pit.
It might be. That might just be.
It might be. Yeah.
That might just be their scale of crime. It's like littering, throw you in the pit. Jaywalking, throw you in the pit. It might be that intense.
But yeah, the whole setup reminds me of Urinetown, the musical. I did a whole DTL on that, but I just want to throw that out there again because there's a lot of parallels to that, especially the whole pit thing. Because like the whole thing is like, oh, and this is a mild spoiler, but it's gonna happen like in a second. But the whole thing about Urinetown is like this place where they throw the people who are like break the last of the laws, the last place you could go to, because there is a slum of nice people type thing, and then the pit. Theirs is Urinetown, and the whole thing is like, oh, Urinetown doesn't really exist. Is this where we throw you to die? And that's basically what the pit is.
Yes. A group of bullies show up to trash talk, pun intended, because I am not a coward and I intend my puns.
Trash talk.
Rudo. They talk about how his father was a ruthless killer and give some more exposition about the slums being the prison and that they throw even the worst criminals down into the pit. They've been trying to shed the negative image that history has given them. I'm sure it probably meant as a reflection of how we treat persecuted minorities, how they try to fix that through just behaving in an ideal way, and how that doesn't really fix the situation or the system that kind of made that. At least that's what I'm reading into this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, once again, I don't want to say that your views are like wrong or anything like that, but I always love when you draw this stuff. To me, I'm like big dumb shonen.
I mean,
that's Manuel's view.
Even a lot of what we call the big dumb shonen at least have some ideas on how things work. Like, I know Naruto is a punching bag for B, but even then, there's
don't get me wrong.
This has a lot going on. Like, Naruto
this is leaps and bounds better than Naruto.
Yeah. Well, commentary on like using children as soldiers, how that's kind of messed up. But yeah, I'm just saying that they do have their own ideas to it.
Yeah.
Which is why, getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, which is why I like this one more than whatever it's called, Assassin Princesses.
Oh, shut up. Assassin Princess. Okay, see, the difference is Assassin Princesses knows what it is. It's like big, dumb, stupid with titties. But this is
but
like...
the thing is, like, even when you're making something dumb, like when you're making art at all, there's still gonna be like some element of like something to say in it of the world that you live in. And
there's something to say is like, this is kind of funny, and there's titties. That's the fun. That's the art.
I would have liked it more if it was actually funny.
I think the difference between you and I is that, like, I think that good art doesn't have to like have artistic merit, if that makes any sense to what I just said. It could just exist because it wants to exist.
It can exist simply to entertain, I think is what you're saying.
I'm going to say this right now, and I've said this before in other things, in other mediums. I actually don't like this. Actually stems with a lot of my biggest objections to everything. To like mainly why me and B butt heads so often, and to a lesser degree why I interrupted JD. Part of my issue when people like, unless the author is saying I did this because of this. I always hate when people like throw all this stuff out there. And a good example is like there's some directors out there kind of famously like some like over like a good example is George Romero, who like from Night of the Living Dead. He's like all that stuff you guys read into. Like I was just trying to make a movie on the cheap that made money kind of thing, you know. I cast that actor because he was the best actor. I did that because that's what the script said. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. And I'm always like, not everything like has to, you know, it could just exist.
Yes, but Manuel,
so you're doing the curtains are just blue argument,
which I think is valid on some things, but some things are either intentional metaphor or sometimes it's just that it's applicable. Manuel, you say this as a fan of Tolkien who coined the phrase applicability. Yes, it's not a direct allegory, but it has some connection to people who read these things into it, and I think that's fairly valid.
The point of doing the critique at all, though, of even doing the podcast of talking about this kind of thing, is that we're able to draw those lines whether they were intended or not.
I'm gonna start just rating titties and gore.
And also, hold on, the other thing too, I am totally fine and love art just for the sake of entertainment. My problem with Assassin Princesses was it wasn't entertaining, and I didn't even think it was funny.
I hate you. Anyway, so getting back to Gachiakuta. I think I said it right. It's funny. The only reason I stumbled on it was because I was saying it right, and I was confusing myself in my brain. And I was like, no, it's not Gachiakuta. But yeah, Gachiakuta. So, by the way, what the fuck does that mean? I feel like it's one of those titles that, like, if it means something, translate it. I can't stand when Japanese titles are kept just for the sake of keeping the Japanese titles.
I am not sure what it means. It might be like onomatopoeia type deal.
Because the main character is not named Gachiakuta, so yeah.
Okay, so
it is a pretty popular thing to do with shonen, to have just like a kind of nonsense to us sounding title.
Like Tekken Kincrete?
Yes,
well, but we were able to figure out what Tekken Kincrete actually means.
I'm the kind of person that, like, yes, call it black and white. Let's move on. But anyway.
Okay. Where in the world were we? Oh, yeah, we're talking about the history of the town. Okay, I know where we are. After they leave, Rudo gives Chiwa that plush that he fixed earlier, goes home, sees Regto, who teases him about his crush on Chiwa because he is a young boy. He's not able to express his feelings fully and properly. But Regto who is his surrogate father figure because his father's a murderer who's been thrown into the pit. We've been over this before we got interrupted. And he's like, go tell her tomorrow or whatever and be a real man or something like that. Not in exactly those words. This is just how I'm trying to remember and get through it quickly.
I'm surprised you didn't mention that Chiwa's like a freaking, what's his face, Osamu Tezuka character. Huh. She's like stereotypical 50s anime.
I have not seen enough Tezuka, honestly. I think the only
big eyes
Tezuka thing I've seen through and through is the remake of Dorororo.
She looks like Cyber 009 kind of. Anyway.
Yes. So Recto is also concerned about Ruto's trash rating. He makes enough money as like a priest who is allowed to walk on the other side of town without being, I guess, just thrown back into the slums. So I assume he has some kind of status.
Hey, hold on. I have to suddenly like completely derail this and bring this back to the title because I've been reading up on this now, doing the research that for some reason we didn't do either one of these.
Gachiakuta?
Yeah. So people have actually like looked into this, and there's a few different answers on Reddit. But people are saying like legit garbage, serious trash, and someone even pushed it as far as to say it just means real shit. And that's actually a perfect title for this. That's exactly like the vibe and the tone. Like it works.
Exactly. And I know that would piss off some people, but call it that. Like I don't know why, like it's almost like they want this stuff to like stay in the realm of only the people who go to Anime Expo are gonna like it. There's no way this will.
It's more. It's not like a completely like perfect translation, I think, and it's kind of vague, and maybe just they didn't settle on an official one,
or they might have said, "Hey, call this in English," even on the Japanese side.
Maybe, but like things like Dragon Ball thing. I mean, no, Dragon Ball was Dragon Ball in Japanese too. Things like Attack on Titan. Like, don't get me wrong, that kind of didn't really take off. That's not really the same level, but like it is the same level actually. But like if that took off somehow. That title can take off on the mainstream level. I know it's still not perfect English, but that still could take off. Gachiakuta will never ever leave the fucking anime circle, no matter how in the US, no matter how or outside of Japan, I should say more accurately.
Well,
no matter how big it gets.
Something like Jujutsu Kaisen, though.
Yeah,
it'll never leave the anime circle. It can be huge, but like
in like Hot Topic.
Yeah.
Okay, we are not calling Hot Topic. Okay, that's a whole topic
but we
for
have
another
people
day.
like
we gotta have a
Megan Thee Stallion talking about this kind of stuff and spreading it to people. It's going to break. It just needs like people to push it, Manuel. It doesn't matter also as much about the title.
And maybe also because Jujutsu Kaisen like is a thing, like it means something.
Yeah, it means like Clash of Sorcerers, Manuel.
Yeah, it's a title. Gachiakuta, like don't get me wrong, my Japanese isn't perfect, but the fact that people are arguing about it on Reddit, that apparently is not a word. So my point is, it's gibberish in Japanese.
I mean, it probably sounds like gibberish to most languages, Manuel. Maybe that gives it some kind of appeal outside of that.
This is a common thing in shonen, though. You get like Hugh Hayashida's Dorohedoro, which this is very similar to.
Oh, I guess that is very.
Which also, I believe, doesn't mean anything.
Now is it like Boruto, which is actually Bolt? Okay, sorry. I had to get my Boruto reference in.
Yes, Manuel, because I know you don't like that it's called that, even though it's transliterating the Japanese as it would be transliterated in English. Yes, it might mean both, but it's also following
it doesn't might mean it is both.
It's following the naming tradition from the original series to make sure you understand that. Because if you just called it Bolt A, there's a Disney movie with that title. B, it's a common word in English, so you might get confused. But if you see Boruto, you know, oh, this is probably related to Naruto in some way.
So maybe just don't name the child of Naruto such a generic name.
Should they have gone with one of the other characters' names, like Salad?
Yes. Fridge. Anyways, we got
sidetracked again. But thank you for informing us about the name B.
Yeah, thank you.
So yes, he has the conversation with Regto, and he goes out the next day determined to find like Chiwa and talk about his feelings. Like, he finds her, I think, overlooking the pit. They kind of talk about the scenery. And he gives her the plush, but he can't really get to the point where he's telling her his feelings before like running back home. I think he's actually interrupted again by Chiwa being called by her mom. Oh no, Chiwa, like they have a conversation and he's like, oh yeah, Regto worries about you because he loves you too. And he like reads so much into that too.
About that.
But yes, he's like, wait, she actually likes me. I could do this. But he's overexcited. That's what it is. The first time Regto's mom or Chiwa's mom called her away, but this time he's just too excited to know what to do. He just runs straight home, bumps into a masked man, and then finds Regto dead with a sword stabbed through him. The police or whatever law enforcement officers for the area come in, arrest him immediately, and he's almost immediately like just tied up and thrown into the pit.
Okay.
Yeah, so, no trial. He's sentenced to death.
Yeah, I said this last time, but like, it's funny because like it sounds like I'm going to say something really crazy here, but like this is actually the way the manga goes, and I love how I was on point with the character here, because when he's about to get thrown in the pit, he's looking in the crowd and he sees Chiwa there, and Chiwa's holding the doll, and he's all like, "You turned out to be a killer just like your father," and then drops the doll, and in my head I'm like, "That's it." Kill her, kill this town, kill everyone. That's it. The world's dying because I clearly, like, obviously it's shonen. It's being published in whatever shonen magazine this is in. Clearly, this dude's gonna have hidden magical powers of some sort. So I'm like, just kill everyone right now. Just tap into that out and kill everyone. And that's literally what he says. He's like, y'all are dead. I'm gonna come back and kill you all. Humanity's over.
It's funny that Naruto keeps coming up because this reminds me of when I mean, this happens in a lot of shonen, the way they draw his face and everything. But I think it's in Naruto when he thinks Sasuke's dead and he gets all like intense and the fox starts coming out and he just says, "I'm gonna kill you." That's exactly the vibe I get from this when he's like, "You're the filthy ones."
Yeah, so he has this whole "I hate humanity now" speech before they throw him into the pit. He managed to land safely on a pile of very soft trash, and is then attacked by what essentially looks like a Colossus from Shadow of the Colossus made out of trash.
Yeah, very soft trash, including what looks to be a microwave.
I mean, yeah, they're all known to be soft, right? You have a soft microwave made out of rubber.
Microwave.
Oh, yeah.
Moving on to Chapter 2, Quasi-Living Things. So yes, he draws the attention of one of these trash colossi. He tries to run away, but when he's cornered in a life or death situation, he channels all that hatred he's still feeling and desire for revenge into his attempts to fight the beasts. He seems to defeat one of them, but the explosion of trash afterwards nearly kills him. Luckily, he's saved by the intervention of another mysterious masked figure, blocks it with an umbrella. Rudo starts interrogating this new person. He asks them questions and just keeps getting louder. The masked figure eventually gets so angry that they start shouting, which draws the beast's attention. There are now multiple trash colossi on them. The figure tells Rudo that despite his beliefs, from this person's point of view, they're not underground. Rudo is just a celestial who fell from the sky. So this pit is, I guess, the second layer of things. Rather than being underground, he lives on like a sphere above things.
It's like Final Fantasy 13, where like, what the fuck is that place called? I forgot what it's called, but basically there's a planet, you know, and they're like this moon. Well, actually, is it a moon?
I'll say
that's still like,
you know,
we don't see it, but yeah, is it circular?
There's a better Final Fantasy reference you could probably have gone for. What? Final Fantasy 7. He lives on the plates of Midgar, and now he's in the slums.
Oh, okay. He lives.
He's basically this is his Aerith.
Yeah. Oh God. It actually is very, very similar to that, actually. But nah, and the trash Shai Haluds, those are the Turks.
So yes, the second thing this figure tells him is the trash beasts can't be defeated with normal weapons, and they're attracted to loud noises. So Rudo has unintentionally drawn their aggro again. The masked figure quickly subdues them with the umbrella. Rudo wonders if this is just the tech of the pit, or if he actually has some sort of powers. This person introduces himself as Engine, and takes off the mask, revealing his face. There's a quick flashback to what I assume to be years earlier. Rudo's just come home from fight defending the belief that he got from Regto about taking care of things and reusing them, repairing them, because they'll be imbued with the spirit. They discuss how that legend was probably born from people just wanting to take care of things because it was more difficult to replace things in other times. I've heard, was it the 7 years of bad luck from breaking mirrors, just because it would take so long to earn money to replace the mirrors, why you would treat it with care, not break it. But I don't know if that's just an urban legend that people cooked up in like the last 100 years or so.
Really cool design on Engine, by the way. Love his mask, love his umbrella. And then when he takes the mask off, he looks a lot like, he reminds me of man, what was that one called? It was popular not that long ago. He reminds me of the guy from Tokyo Revengers.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet, but I
don't remember the character.
I think I can remember like one of the faces. I just can't put a name to it because I haven't read it. This is more specifically about Rudo's gloves that he wears. Like, Rudo wonders if they'll get a spirit, and Regto says they will if he takes care of them. The chapter ends with Rudo collapsing and Engine dragging him off somewhere. I like the chapter just for introducing the like powers and what the monsters are and how they kind of work here. It's more just an introduction, I guess a transitory chapter, if you will, between points, rather than like some big moment like we had at the end of chapter 1, which is titled The Sphere. I realized I didn't say that. And then we're moving straight into like chapter 3, Imbued. Bruto continues to demand answers from Engine, and Engine only gives like the vaguest hints at the possibility of Rudo returning to heaven, is what they call the place where Rudo's from down here. So instead of, giving him any more answers about that or how the powers down here work, Engine just decides to leave him with a group of masked men in a desert wasteland. Surely nothing could go wrong. And this was a sequence I really liked in this first volume, which is just these 3 chapters and the one after this. But I like it because it plays with your expectations multiple times. First, you see them, the masked raiders, essentially, and think you know exactly how this is going to play out. They're going to attempt to tear him limb from limb, maybe tie him to a car and drag him along and just steal his stuff and abandon him. Then they seem impressed by the fact that he's from heaven, or as they call it, like a spherite. At this point, you're like, oh, since they say he comes from heaven, maybe they think he's like a god or some other divine being, like an angel that should be cherished and are worshipped. And then, no, it reveals that, nope, under all that, they do just hate him because his kind dumps their trash onto this place, polluting the environment, creating trash beasts, and killing people with debris. I believe one of them even specifically notes that he has lost a family member to a fallen piece of debris.
So yeah, they imply that the sphere just they throw people down there too. Like when they get thrown into the pit, they're just throwing them, and typically most of them just die. Like even when they show like when what's his face Rudo?
Yes,
first
Rudo.
I think it's the first time I said his name. When he first is thrown there, there's like other corpses around, like probably other people got thrown. Also, that because like I don't know if the planet's moving, maybe the sphere stays like up in the sky, or if it's moving, or they're both moving, but it moves. So like it's gone now. Like he can't get back up to it to kill everyone if he wants to. Also, before I forget, because I almost forgot last time, I'm gonna just say it again now. Like I do not see what makes him so obviously he's like being from up there. He looks dressed the same as them. Maybe there's something missing in the colors that I can't see, but like it's manga. But like sure, they're wearing different clothes, don't get me wrong, but I'm like, they don't look different.
Yeah, I think you're bringing this up later. I'm pretty sure Engine just said, hey, here's a spherite, do what you will.
Yeah.
But yes, it comes up later that he has to sell off his clothes because they mark him too much as a spherite, which, well,
they already say it. They already, because they know what he is. Like, I don't think Engine had to tell them he was a spherite. Like, they could tell that he's one because of what he's wearing. No, they even say that like, oh, we can get a lot of money for your clothes, but for a living one, that they're gonna sell him to someone, which is like for what?
Anyway, yeah, looking back
torture,
at what
murder.
people wore back when he was still in the sphere, it's not particularly like, it doesn't stand out that much as like he's wearing something obviously different from
he looks like he's, and especially because he's from the slums too. It's like don't all this, am I just comparing all slum people are the same?
Yes.
But like surely he's not dressed any different than they are. Like they're both wearing
some,
slummy rags.
The girl
Yeah.
he liked, I already forgot her name, and her mom have very like intricate little designs on their clothes and stuff, but it's not super different, like fashion wise. You can definitely draw a line between what they're wearing and what they wear in the pit.
Oh, I was just say, because most of their stuff is just, I guess, recycled or taken off corpses. It might just be that they get first dibs on things that might have some of the better things here. In future chapters, we might see people who are wearing much more worn down things that have been discarded by the people who pick up the discarded stuff. Yeah,
because what they're wearing would be clothes from the sphere, just older and dirtier and ripped.
Yeah. So, as I was trying to say, they force feed Rudo some discarded food, but Rudo's hatred grows even stronger, and he's not only bites the food, but also 2 of the guy's fingers just like clean off the bone. As the conflict grows, they attack him, and Rudo unlocks his power, what we'll later know as a giver. He can imbue objects with powers, essentially turning them into weapons. He first uses a chain, but when that gets taken away, he turns an old tire into a spiked version as well. Before he can go too far in his rampage, Engine stops him and offers to give Rudo all the answers if he just joins a group known as the Cleaners. Rudo refuses, ends chapter. Bringing us into our next chapter, chapter 4, The Ground, the last one for this volume. Engine calls his boss and talks about finding Rudo, who he says has agreed to join the Cleaners. Rudo wakes up and calls BS on that because he never said that. He and Engine go back and forth until Engine tells him that information doesn't come free down here, so he'll have to join up if he wants to know anything, and Rudo finally agrees because that's the only way he's going to get any kind of information out of him. Engine exposits about the concept of anima, the energy that can infuse things with spirit and bring it to life, like it does with the trash beasts, it also infuses what they call vital instruments, essentially Tsukumogami, things that have been taken care of for a long time. Givers can use those objects as weapons to fight the trash beast in no man's land. The cleaners are an organization of givers. Engine himself doesn't know how to return in the spirit, but his boss might. Engine also notes that he sold off Ryu's clothes because they would mark him as a spherite. Like he said, we don't see much of the difference down here, but it might just be that they're in kind of areas that get fresh supplies of clothes and people wearing clothes thrown down into the pit.
Yeah, apparently this not underworld, but this world has like just it's normal. It has cities, and they have walls, I guess, that keep the fucking trash halludes out, but occasionally they still attack. And it's very Attack on Titan down here. I'm not gonna lie. I liked the manga until it became this. I think I said this last time too. I don't know if I really went far into it, but like when it started becoming like, oh, here's a group, and it becomes like. Yeah, very Chainsaw Man to me.
I recently read some of Shoujo X, and it starts off with a cool premise, and then it kind of gets into the point where you realize, like, oh, now we're gonna start getting the names of stuff and the world building, and
exactly. That it was mainly that. It was mainly like I don't know. And don't get me wrong, maybe it'll win me over again. But I was like, you had such a good premise. Why did it become like standard shonen where I'm just being thrown names? And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they're hard to remember. That's not the issue. But why is it becoming like I don't know, like I don't want to be that person. Like, oh, it doesn't feel like I don't think these societies would name everything this way.
I mean, yeah, why would a group of people get in together, do something, give themselves named? Like, we're just the A to J manga podcast. I know we're not reading the wrong way, right?
We wouldn't give ourselves a we'd just be like, oh, we defend the city. We're like, we're the givers. And like, well, I don't know.
I think it's because they give life to objects. I think it's
nobody would name it. Okay, maybe they name themselves that, but I think they say that's what people call them. Nobody would call them the givers. Nobody would. Nobody would sit there and be like, oh, they're giving life. We're going to call them the givers. No one's going to do that. No one's going to do that.
That's just those the kind weirdos of thing you have to put up with when you're reading Battle Shonen.
Yeah, either they give themselves a name, or like you would just call them those weirdos that like that fight every so often, or you maybe just call them the police. Or I mean,
I don't think we hear anyone who's not either a giver or connected to them, like the givers. Same with the cleaners. I think it's just like the names of organizations, like the technical terms.
Oh, by the way, I meant the cleaners. Yeah, I meant the cleaners the whole time. Yeah, like it's. I kept saying giver the actual like. See, nobody will call them either, for the record. But the cleaners is what the name of the organization is called. Yeah. Like I don't like. I think that they even said that they gave us like, they call them the clean. Like no, you guys call yourselves the cleaners, or you guys changed it so you pretend that they called you it, because we would never call them the cleaners.
I mean, they take out the trash manual.
Maybe we call them the trash man. Honestly, I bet you that in Japan they call them like cleaner, as in like the word. But I think the word they're probably thinking to use, and they probably should have been not romanized, localized better, would have been the trash man. And I don't mean that as a joke. I mean that for real.
But I think because it can be read two different ways in America, like the men who are trash rather than the men who take out the trash. They probably thought cleaners was a cleaner word, pun intended.
Well, I guarantee you also.
Although it's funny because it actually would have worked better if it had that double meaning.
Yeah, exactly. And I guarantee you that, like, I mean, I'm still gonna say it. I guarantee without even looking it up that they probably were called the cleaners in like cleana or whatever in Japanese, so they just kept it. But yeah, trash man, call them the trash man. Now that we said it, now that B even has that would have been that double entendre would have worked here. They should have called them trash man.
Well, we'll see what they do in the anime.
I love the inconsistency of manual. Localized loan words. Don't localize loan words. Make something else up.
That is kind of funny. I said that about Bolt, didn't I?
Yes.
No, but like I am very pro localize. Actually, the Bolt thing is the perfect example. Why keep it? It's like Ringu and Hausu. Don't do that. Localizers. Anyway,
I guess.
I mean, considering that a Japanese man in a Japanese-inspired village would probably name his son the way it's spelled in Japanese rather than the way it's spelled in English.
But
yeah, the thing with Ring and House is that those are like objects and sort of like things, and Boruto is a guy's name.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, Naruto is a thing in Japan. Like
yes, I know it's a word for like spirals or whirlpools.
Yes, exactly. So that's a word. Bolt is what he named his child.
Mhm.
It just happens to be that you pronounce it Boruto. For
Yes.
example, that if that movie, the Bolt anime, it's still called anime in Japan. The Bolt movie that I think is by Fox or someone. I don't know who.
No, it's a Disney movie.
Is it Disney?
Yes.
Oh, it's Disney. Well, I'm pretty sure that movie, like, it probably still spells Bolt, in English characters, but I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Boruto as well. Just proving my point. Like, he is called Bolt.
But Manuel, it's also following the family's naming tradition. It was, sorry, spoilers for Naruto in here. It was Minato, then it was Naruto, and now it's Boruto.
But I think that my thing is, like, whoever the fuck wrote it, I forget his name. You said it earlier.
Kishimoto-sensei.
Should have gave him a real Japanese name.
Well, he didn't want
Anyway,
to.
that's neither here nor there. But fuck Shonen. I'm just kidding.
Okay. So yes,
the cleaners, the fucking trash man.
Yes, he gives him the money that he sold minus the cost of lunch. The bag is promptly stolen by a cat, and in pursuit of it, Rudo steals another cleaner's cane, which pisses him off enough for him to start training early and probably a little more intensely than normal, and that's where our volume ends.
Yeah, I said this last time. I'm just gonna jump the gun a little. I probably like this one the least. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I don't mean that, like, obviously, like, we had different opinions on the Shy Hero and the Assassin Princesses. We had different views. So I don't want to make it sound like, oh, this is the worst manga I've ever read. This is still way better than fucking Princess Eye and Magic Knight Rayearth. It's even better than Black and White. But I'm like over here like, oh my god, it's like,
I mean, Tech on Kincrete?
Tech on Kincrete? Yeah, sorry. I'm going to call it Black and White. Like, I like how I've already adopted that. I like how this second recording, we did not have all these asides about shonen, hating localization.
Yeah, this is about twice as long as the original recording at this point.
Yes. Yeah,
That's
the original
fine.
one actually went by really fast.
Yeah.
This is not a good premise, and it didn't lose me. But I like, there was a moment, actually, there was several moments, but there was the moment when he first meets Engine, which, by the way, I'm sure his name is Engine, and it's almost Boruto all over again. Because don't get me wrong, it's still pronounced Engine, but they spell it Engine, and I'm pretty sure that's meant to be pronounced Engine, but his name is Engine. Anyway, there were several moments where I sighed, and I'm like, oh god, I forgot this was shonen. And this might be a hot take, but I like the art the least here. I didn't say this last time, but like. And this has nothing to do with the skill or this is the personal thing. I just felt this, and it's funny because I actually didn't pick up on the whole graffiti thing. I do not like this graffiti style. What's that Limp Bizkit album? There's a Limp Bizkit album that has a cover with the dude who has like his hand down. I think it's meant to be Fred Durst type character. You know the album cover I'm talking about?
Man, that would require me to listen to Limp Bizkit.
Okay, that is a funny take. But everyone go look that album cover up. If this was a visual thing, I say go put it up here. But they have an album cover that has that character. And I remember hating that cover as a kid and hating everything that art style represents, which is the graffiti art style. Kind of like what you get from like, and this is not perfect one-to-one, but kind of like what you get for like Jet Set Radio and like...
Are you saying you don't like the art style of Jet Set Radio?
No, I actually kind of, because Jet Set Radio, I like the cell shading bit.
I can't think of incredible.
I can't think of another good example, but like this, whatever this is, like, and it's funny because one of the reasons I keep pointing out
there is a name for what you're talking about, and I just recently learned it and was studying
there is a name.
And I
exactly,
forgot.
there is a name, and that's what upsets me. There's a name for this style. I just can't stand it, and like this manga is like full of it, except for Chiwa. Chiwa looks like she gave him something else entirely. Actually, the World Ends With You is kind of an example of the Japanese take on it. This looks a lot like that. Yes.
Okay,
and I love the World Ends With You.
I looked it up.
Yes.
The name of the album is their first one, $3 Bill, y'all.
Yes. I can't stand that art style. Okay, this art style is not as bad as that because this is like the Japanese take on it. Like I said, kind of more similar to the World Ends With You. I also didn't like that game because of the art style.
I love the World Ends With You.
Yeah, that was a great art style, man. I think we just completely disagree on it.
Yeah, and I will admit that's personal preference. I'm not saying that you guys are wrong. I'm not saying that, but I didn't like it because of that either. And I agree that. I mean, I agree. I acknowledge that's probably a hot take, but that is my thoughts. And I'll end it there. You guys can.
Manuel's just the old man complaining about the kids these days, but the kids these days are from the 90s now.
Exactly. And I am a kid from the 90s, but it doesn't matter anymore. I'm Willie. Remember? It's like the Scots and the English, the Scots and the Irish, and the Scots and other Scots. That's me.
But with the 80s kids, the 2000s kids, and the 90s kids.
Yes. Anyway, keep going on.
B, you want to go second, I guess?
Yeah. So, like, okay, I didn't hate this. I'm not, like, a big battle shonen fan, and it's not the kind of thing I would go and keep reading more of, but looking at it for what it is, I think it's really like a well-paced, tightly done version of that thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, the thing with battle shonens is I do always love the beginnings of them, and then once it gets into like, now we're gonna start dropping all the lore and the world building, and we're going to get a million characters in the group that has a funny name for themselves, I do tend to get tired of it, which is also why I dropped what was that? I literally just mentioned it.
Oh, Choji Next.
Yes. And it's why I drop most. Like, I think the furthest I've made it in one recently was Demon Slayer, but I watched the anime. I didn't read the manga. And it's the kind of thing, like, if it's on this, the funny thing is the way you kept talking about Manuel, how you kept talking about Assassin Princess is like having it on the background or whatever. That's kind of how I feel about this kind of thing. This is the one where I'm like, battle shonen in general is the one where I'm like, okay, this is fine. This is like watchable, readable, fun. I'll look up at it. I'll enjoy the art and the characters, and I'll kind of forget about it after. But it's fun, and it's like a really like well-paced story. So I'm like, it's a fun little piece of like action. Adventure, I guess. And I'm like, yeah, like, it's the allegory and everything is very on the nose because it's, you know, for teenagers, and it works.
I honestly, the world building and stuff like that is generally one of my favorite parts of shows like this. So like when stuff, oh yeah, here's how the things work, and like how can we play with that? How can we expand it? How can we see how people misunderstand it and reveal new things about that? It's kind of where I really get into things like this. So like when it starts dropping, oh yeah, here are the cleaners, here's how Anima works, is kind of the stuff I live for, and why I really like that, along with like the art. And I think the story is at least set up as something interesting. Like I talked about last time, I want to see what more secrets are there to this world. Is there like a pit beneath the pit, essentially, where they throw their worst people? Is Rudo's dad, who's been thrown down here, a hero, a villain, a king? Is he dead but like a legend? That's the kind of stuff I want to see.
He's going to be the leader of the cleaners. He's going to be the leader of the cleaners. He's either the leader of the cleaners, the founder of the cleaners, or like
I don't want to misrepresent exactly what I mean. Like, I do love all the world building and stuff. I don't love when we have to have a big chapter or episode where we sit down and learn all of it and have it told to us.
Yeah, I could definitely see where it could be better fit in, but I think a first volume is kind of fine for just, oh, here's pages of exposition as we're just getting into it. It's definitely a skill that has to be picked up to integrate more tightly and easily, or like organically. That's the term I'm looking for.
So it's not like this did a bad job. It's just it did the same job that every other story like this does.
Yeah,
and it's fine. And it's fun.
Is this Urana Sensei's first manga? I think I think it's one of her first. Like, she might have had some one shots, but I think this is like her first big serial.
That seems right. Yeah.
It's her first big bowl of Fruit Loops.
So yes, I'm excited to see where this goes. Excited to see the anime, especially because it's being adapted by Studio Bones, who's just been knocking it out of the park with their adaptations.
I don't like Bones.
She was an assistant on Fire Force. She wasn't an assistant on Soul Eater. She was an assistant on Fire Force. Yeah, and that guy eventually went on to make Soul Eater later.
Before that,
I remember I didn't fully get into it last time, but I did mention it.
Soul Eater is before. Then it was Soul Eater not, and then he started working on Fire Force.
Right. Yeah, okay.
For the record, I mistook Bones for a different studio, so what I said didn't count. But I do remember like getting upset because I'm like, oh, Bones, like they do this kind of style all the time, like this graffiti-ish style.
I think Bones is the perfect studio for this.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I can see this working on like Trigger 2 or maybe Science Saru, with how energetic and out there it seems like it will get. But yeah, I think Bones just
what it would work, because now I've locked myself into having the hottest take ever.
What?
It would work at Trigger because Similarly, I really like the way it looks, and I just do not care about the writing whatsoever. Much like every single show Trigger has ever made. I am not a fan of Trigger.
For the record, though, like
But
I said this before, but like I probably this is probably also similar to B. I don't think I'll ever follow this up again. Maybe if I hear it gets better, like somebody will tell me, and then I'll watch it years from now when it finishes. It's like, whatever. I don't know if it gets another season or if it's like on volume 12 or something. I won't read the manga. I'm not even gonna lie, but I might watch the anime. Like I'm done with the manga forever.
Yeah, I can see like picking up the anime if it's fun, especially the way they can get me is if like the opening theme is good. That's usually enough for a shonen.
I'll let you know after AX.
I'll probably watch the first episode.
Okay. Well, I mean, the first episode. Sometimes the first episode doesn't have the opening just because it's so packed with content. So it might not even be here at AX. It might take to like episode 3.
It's gonna be like a generic like rock type like anime opening.
I've been really disappointed with anime openings lately. They never like live up to what I think they should be.
I feel like there have been some disappointments, but last year at least, running into my head from Code Geass Rose and the Recapture was just an amazing track.
Oh, I didn't watch the new Code Geass because I never finished the original Code Geass. The one recent anime theme that like blew me away that I have not ever been able to get out of my head, even though I didn't really watch much of the show, was Dan Da Dan. And then I heard the song that Aina the End from Bish did for Dan Da Dan Season 2, and it's so forgettable.
I honestly didn't care for, was it Otonoke from Dan Da Dan? I don't like it's too cacophonous for me. Like, Dan Da Dan as a series itself is too ADHD for me. I say that as someone with ADHD at times. I just did not care for it that much.
Yeah, I would say, like, I can't stand a single song from Dan Da Dan, so I have not seen the show. I just know because the fucking everyone would like post the fucking music everywhere, like in like TikTok shit like that, and I'm like, oh my god! And I forgot because obviously this is the main theme everyone knows, but there was an ending. It might have been from the first season. I don't know. But there was an ending, and I'm like, oh my god, this is from Dan Da Dan, isn't it? And it was. Because I'm like, this sounds fucking annoying. And it was around the same time when the opening was going viral. I'm like, oh my god. See, it's just I throw it out there. Like I even picked that as a song of the year on the A to J list, and I'm like, disappointed.
Yeah, you see, man, I can understand that people have different tastes and that kind of stuff. I understand why it appeals to people. It just does not appeal to me.
Disappointed.
Anyway. Okay, I think that's just all we have to say about Gachiakuta. We've kind of said what we had to do. I think our rankings would generally be, I think B and I agree that it's Summer Hikaru Died, Gachiakuta, and then Shy Hero and Assassin Princesses. We differ in much lower we rank them relative to the other ones. I still think
obviously I switched around.
It's a maybe at best slightly below average series. At worst, slightly below average series that may find its footing later. Like, I'll watch it. I'll laugh. I might forget it later, but I probably won't regret having taken the time to watch it. I also, like, compared to you two, at least how you described your habits, I'm one of those guys who has to stay, like, laser focused on what I'm watching. If I'm watching, like, something with a narrative arc or even a comedy, like if I'm watching a movie or a TV show, I will be focused on that. I won't be looking at my phone as much as I can. Sometimes if I'm worried it's emergency, I'll pause and like take a look at it. But then I'll be focused back in.
For me, I'm kind of the same way, which is also why I'm very picky. I'm like, if I'm gonna need to focus on something, I want it to be like the best it can be. But sometimes I will have stuff that's like I'm okay with it being in the background.
So yes, and then Manuel, if you want to go over your ranking, I don't think it's changed since last time.
Yeah, it's Summer Hikaru Died, like way up there. Then like decently down. I'm not gonna like lie and say it's like right down there. No, but it's decently down. Assassin Princesses, and then not like crazy below it, but also decently down is Gachiakuta. And honestly, Gachiakuta is probably not even so much. There's just all the little things that are definitely just not for me. It is 1000% not for me. I guess time will tell if this is a bad take. It doesn't feel very memorable as even a typical shonen anime. Even it feels like something that's gonna come and go. People remember it for the year or two it's out. It'll take over like Anime Expo because that's just what happens. And then there you go.
I don't see it being the next like.
Yeah, exactly.
I was gonna say Bleach, but I mean we're obviously more. It's not gonna be like the next Jujutsu Kaisen
like Demon Slayer.
Demon Slayer, yeah, exactly. It doesn't feel like it's quite there, but it feels like it's trying to be. And I feel like, you know what? Maybe whatever the thing she does next will be that.
I mean, in a sense, could it be like
first work? Yeah,
the next Soul Eater, where it's not like one of the big three, but it's one that people might fondly remember, and it's kind of more off the beaten path of shonen.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'd take that. And I do like Soul
Yeah,
Eater.
this feels like maybe this is her Fire Punch, and then maybe next time.
Oh my god! I was gonna bring a Fire Punch, but I didn't know anyone else knew that but me. Only because when A to J was first starting, that was like the first manga I think we ever reviewed, and like it got sent to me by like some dude who worked for Viz, and I was just like, dude, what the fuck is this manga? I'm surprised it got made into an anime. Is it as dark as the manga was? Because that manga was messed up.
Did it get put out yet? I thought it was maybe in the works. I know Chainsaw Man obviously is in the works, or has been made and has more in the works, but I don't remember anything about Fire Punch.
Oh, Fire Punch is about that dude who can heal himself and gets like caught like lit on fire, kind of, right? Right?
I don't remember anything about it. I don't even know.
I haven't read it
much.
Yeah,
or read it. Yeah.
It is. I just looked it up right now,
and it's over. It's been over. It's like long.
Yeah.
Done. Yeah. I mean, like and I remember when I like I said, this is like A to J, like this is like 2017 or something or whatever year that was, and I remember, I remember reading it and like, what the hell is this? It was weird. Wait,
I still feel like Tatsuki Fujimoto hasn't quite found his footing, and I'm more excited for what he does after Chainsaw Man.
Yeah, I actually didn't know until you guys brought it up sometime last week. I mean, last recording. What was last week? I was like, oh, that's the same person as Fire Punch. Like, damn, those are two completely different stories.
Not Fire Force. We're two different fire anime. Fire
Punch is like a post-apocalyptic thingy where there's like I kind of gave it. I kind of said it briefly. This dude has healing powers, and through nonsense, he gets lit on fire, but he can't die, so he becomes like this crazy dude, like avenging good guy, anti-hero type. But yeah,
but they love the tangents.
But anyway, yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about that.
Yeah, next month. I was slightly wrong about how long this one is, but not entirely. So we're going to be delving back into not quite horror, but horror themes with Shintaro Kago's Dementia 21, which is it's two volumes is what they call it. It's almost omnibus. Omnibus editions.
It's like 6 volumes basically.
Okay.
It was originally released as 7 volumes, but
that sounds about right.
Those volumes all also were like only a couple chapters of this story and included several like unrelated one-shots and stuff, I think. So I think if you just read the 2 omnibus editions that have been more recently released, it should be more in line with what we do in one episode.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like basically almost not. It's not quite as long as it, but it's almost really like 2 Uzumakis, but almost.
No, I think total it's around 30 something chapters, which is about an Uzumaki in length.
Oh, is it? It's several.
No, Uzumaki was only like 19 chapters.
But yeah, so next time
we're
reading,
the chapters are super short.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what was it called again? I already forgot the title.
Dementia 21.
Dementia 21. There you go. That's what next month's episode will be, which will be out hopefully the end of July.
Yeah.
It's a summer sampler. Maybe we'll have more samplers. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I like this format.
It was a fun idea.
Yeah. So to get the spiel out of the way, shout out to our patron Ed. Consider supporting us on Patreon, patreon.com/AJConnections. Every dollar helps keep our website ad-free and helps us bring you content like this. Follow us on social media. We're at A to J Connections, at A to J, or on most things at A to J Info on Twitter, whatever you prefer to call it. If you're still on there for some reason, at A to J Plays on Twitch, A to J Connections, and A to J Plays on YouTube, depending on if you want to see our main content or our game content. And you're at A-2-J Connections.com because Manuel was an idiot, actually, always has been.
Damn. For the record, I did fix.
Yeah,
I mentioned this last time too. Like I fixed the SEO, so it actually. And by the way, I did fix it. It was a whole issue with Google. So when you type in A to J Connections, we do come up, not some weird gambling site that took our name. It was like that for almost a good year. I'm not making this up. It was a nightmare. I thought the site had a virus, but it didn't. It was just SEO bullshit. Like it just had to do with like pointers to Google. Like it was just bullshit. It was annoying. But yeah, I fixed it.
Thank you everyone for listening today. But consider liking us, following us, sharing it with your friends if you enjoyed it, leaving us comments about what you liked, what you didn't like.
If you saw it on YouTube, let us know, because by the time this is up, this should be all of the episodes should be on YouTube.
If you saw it on Apple Podcasts, let us know, because please.
Oh yeah, we can't find it. It keeps on my end. It says it's there, but I can't find it either. So I don't know. It's being uploaded to the void.
Yesterday.
Yeah, it's being uploaded to the void. I'll try to. So if you found us on Apple, drop us a message and just send us a link, or just pirate us. Put us on Apple Podcast yourself. I don't even care at this point. Just do it. Just do it.
For NJ Connections, I'm JD.
I'm Manuel.
I'm B.
And we'll see you next chapter.